Guess what day it is? Huh? Hump Day!
A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston. 15 seconds to go as Schenn blocks a puck to the corner. 10 seconds remaining. Get up, St. Louis. Get on your feet. Raise them high. 5 seconds to go, and the time winds down. They did it. It's over. The game is over. The series is over. The wait is over. And the St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup champions for the first time in franchise history.
These guys won the Stanley Cup for this city. There is nothing more they have to do. So instead of saying, let's go Blues, we're going to say, we went Blues. We went Blues.
Unreal.
Happy We Went Blues Day from your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN in St. Louis, where 7:01 time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Danny Mac, Matthew Rocci, Randy Carricker. I got goosebumps hearing Curb's call 5 years ago tonight.
Unbelievable. And I remember where I was. I think everybody in the city remembers where they were. We're going to ask for those mic drops. We're going to ask for text to where you were. What comes to mind when you think about this? The Cardinals were in Miami, and Jordan Yamamoto had thrown like an 8-0 or a 9-0 shutout, and everybody went down to the clubhouse. And, you know, I think fans think that guys are so dejected after a loss, and it's quiet in the clubhouse, but everybody was watching the television. I went into the equipment manager's room and just kind of watched it with Ricky Horton, and it was unbelievable, man. It was incredible, and it's something you never forget about.
No, and we'll celebrate today. Of course, we will air Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals from 2019 tonight at 6 here on 101 ESPN. During the course of this show, at the bottom of this hour, we're going to talk to defenseman Carl Gunnarsson. He had a famous goal in that series against the Boston Bruins. A great story.
Yes.
Behind that goal. We're also going to talk to Brayden Schenn, the current Blues captain, who is a member of that team. He'll join us at 9:15. Michelle Smallmon, who has some great memories of that year, will join us at 9:30. And we're also going to talk to Kyle Gibson today. It is Wednesday, so the Cardinal right-hander will join us at 8:45 today. And he'll join us on the heels of a great game. And Dan, I think you and I both, we're old school. We love the pitching pairing, and we love the great matchup in the pitcher's duel. And last night was quintessential. You had the grizzled veteran Mikolas against the rookie Skenes. Pirates win the game by a score of 2-1, but the story of the game was really the first 7 innings.
It was just a great game.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Paul Skenes is the real deal. Now, he's throwing triple digits, and we're seeing that time and again, and that catches your attention. What caught my attention was a young pitcher at the age of 22 and his ability, Randy, to throw any pitch at any time in the count. And that is a seasoned veteran. When a lot of guys go back and just rear back and fire it and look for the 100-mile-an-hour 101 fastball to blow it by a major league hitter, which isn't always going to happen. It happened a little bit last night. Guys were off balance, though. I thought that was the key for him. And then Miles Mikolas, again, it's kind of been his Cardinals career. No run support, but his last 6 starts, he's got 5 quality starts, a 3 ERA, only 8 walks. So he looked tremendous last night. And remember, he was coming off a start in which he only threw 62 pitches in Houston. So well rested, and you saw a rested Mikolas come to the forefront last night. 7
shutout innings for Miles. He allows just 1 hit. Yo-Yo Romero with 1 hit allowed in his inning of work. And then Ryan Helsley, the walks just jumped up to kill him in the ninth.
7 innings pitched now. Last 7 for Ryan Helsley. He's given up 9 hits, 6 earned, 4 walks, and 8 strikeouts. So that, you know, we talk about the usage of these guys, and I don't think Helsley's been overused. I really don't. But you're going to have some clunkers along the way. Maybe you get that dead arm stage if you're a pitcher, and I'm not saying that Helsley has that, but he's kind of in a little rut right now, and that's something that we're seeing at the back end of this bullpen.
He's another guy that I think might benefit from the return of Wilson Contreras, taking nothing away from the Cardinals' young catchers, but it is hard when you're a first-year Major League catcher catcher to guide staff, and you just don't have the innate knowledge like a Contreras does of everybody on your staff, and especially when you never see a guy. I mean, if you're Herrera or Pages, you're only seeing Helsley in the ninth inning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on the flip side, you miss Contreras' bat.
Yeah,
you
no
know,
doubt.
the Cardinals went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They left 8 on. About a key in the game, they had 2 on in the 5th, nobody out. And the back end of the lineup is something to talk about here. You had Carpenter, Pages, who the ball basically was in the catcher's glove when he swung for strike 3, and you had Ciani. So your depth is being, really tested right now, and it got tested with the bench at the end of the game, a lack of depth, and we saw that last night.
And as good as Ciani is defensively, and as much as he's done for the club, he's hitting 200, and when he does get hits, there's not an awful lot of pop. And so, first of all, I want to give credit to Michael Ciani. He's been amazing for the Cardinals, but I wonder if it might benefit them offensively, and I know this sounds weird, to get Dylan Carlson in there on a more regular basis in center field.
How about the fact that you didn't go to him late?
Yep, I thought that was telling. And you let Ciani hit.
You let Ciani hit. You had Crawford there as well. You had Fermin. I mean, that's not like a killer's bench that's coming off the bench for the Cardinals, and I think it's something that stands out in the game last night.
Nolan Gorman with a home run in the bottom of the ninth to get the Cardinals a little bit closer. Now hitting at a higher home run percentage than last year. Gorman's on pace for 30 home runs. And Derek Gould posted yesterday on X, since the start of May, Gorman has hit 250 with a 580 slugging percentage and a 933 OPS. The only player in the National League who has at least 100 plate appearances since May 1st and a higher slugging percentage than Gorman is Bryce Harper at 592. Gorman at 580, Harper at 592.
I've been thinking about extension candidates for the Cardinals. I think Mason Wynn has shown here in the first 3 months he's going to be a pretty darn good player. But Nolan Gorman, when you're looking at this day and age of baseball, power is number one, and then left-handed power. If you can find that and get it and it's sustainable, man, you got something there, and that's what the Cardinals have right now with Nolan Gorman.
I think you have to pick and choose. Remember, and it wasn't too long ago, the Cubs non-tendered Kyle Schwarber. He wasn't, and basically, for me, Nolan Gorman is Kyle Schwarber. I would guess that he'll probably wind up being a 40 home run guy. He'll strike out a lot. He might not have the on base that Schwarber has in the long run, but I'm with you in terms of keeping him around. But I think you also have to find your price range for him. I don't think that he's an extraordinarily high because of what he is. He's a one-trick pony, but the trick is awesome.
Yeah.
So I think you have to figure out what the value is for a guy like that. And for me, he's a poor man's Schwarber.
Did you, well, by the way, Kyle Schwarber, per at bat, is ahead of Mark McGwire in the month of June. So if you go back to the all-time look at home runs and how often they come, it's at a clip that we haven't seen since Big Mac in 1998. That's what Schwarber's doing right now for the Phillies.
Pretty incredible, isn't it?
It really is.
And especially now, because all due respect to Big Mac wasn't facing 98, 99, 100 every night.
Not every night. And it was kind of an anomaly when you saw a guy like that. We get a text coming in. I think it's a good comparison. They said that Paul Skenes reminded them of Kerry Wood. A little bit. I think that's pretty good.
My comp was Mark Pryor.
That's the other one. But Pryor didn't throw quite that hard.
No.
And Kerry Wood could get it up into the high 90s. But just how they pitched, the way that their mechanics look good, at least when I'm talking about Pryor, and it showed you that his mechanics didn't matter. He got hurt. But Skenes looks like one of those guys that could be out there forever. He's a horse. And it was interesting that Derek Shelton let him go back out there for another inning. They have not done that, Randy. They've been very careful with his innings and pitch count. He was at 94, and he went back out there. I love that.
And finished with 103. I do too.
Let him pitch.
Yeah.
Let him go back out there. I mean, quit babying guys and let him get over the 100 threshold.
Wasn't like they were. It wasn't like they were not going to do that when he was at LSU.
Right.
Right. He was going to throw 104 there.
Did you see the other day in college baseball, there was a starter that went with 143 pitches. 143 in the game.
Yep.
And, some people will look at that and say, you're going to ruin a kid. You know what's interesting is a lot of those guys, I've gone back and looked at this, that had because I did a lot of college baseball, that had those kind of starts, that did 120 to 130. It's been no issues. They were able to bounce back. And some guys were able to bounce back in a College World Series in 3 days. Maybe not start, but come out of the bullpen and give an inning, maybe 2 innings. I'm not saying that they're babied too much because this is day and age of baseball where I'm not a doctor, but that's what they're telling you is don't go really more than 110. But it seems to work at the college level, even with some of the guys that are max effort. It's just something to consider as you move forward and watch how guys are babied or lack thereof.
Cardinals drafted a pitcher from Stanford last year who threw 156 in a game.
Yes.
One of their top prospects. I'm trying to find, I don't remember his name right off the top of my head, but the college coaches have no qualms about throwing a guy a bunch of pitches.
Well, their jobs are on the line. It's not 162. It's you either do or you don't at the end of the season, and they feel, you know what, this guy gives us the best chance to win. He stays out there. I just was amazed at how much college coaches would leave in their top starter, and it would be 120 was no big deal. 130, not that big a deal. So kind of interesting to see how it plays out in the lower levels of baseball.
So we want to hear from you with mic drops for later in the show, and we're going to hear your mic drops about the 2018-2019 Blues. And at what point in the season did you think they had a chance to win a Stanley Cup? For me, Dan, it was the winning streak in February when they got going. And early in the winning streak, they go to Tampa, and we're going to talk to Brayden Schenn about this. He bounces an overtime goal in to beat Tampa Bay on the road. And I thought, well, okay, something might be happening here. And the Blues at that point were only 3 games over 500. But they have the winning streak, and then they go on a little bit of a losing streak. They lose 3 in a row, and they lose 4 out of 5. And then they come back. They beat Edmonton, Detroit, Tampa here, and Vegas. And to me, that stretch in late March and that 4-game winning streak, that's when I thought, okay, they could be a Stanley Cup team. Not only were they winning games, but they were winning games against good teams.
I have the obvious choice, which is the San Jose Sharks hand pass game.
The next game after that.
You know, I just thought the way that Chief handled that, hey, we're not going to talk about it. The game's over. We're not going to blame the referees. We're moving on. I thought, man, if there was a better way to handle this, I don't know if there is. I didn't think there was. And that's when I thought, legitimately, they may win the Stanley Cup.
Alex Pietrangelo was always and is a very honest hockey player, and he was a perfect captain in that regard because he would tell you what happened. And I went into the locker room anticipating, okay, well, Petro's going to talk about what happened. So I'm kind of pressing him because I know I can. And finally, he says, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Because Chief had said, hey, we're moving on. And the players, it was like a baseball team. They put it behind them immediately. And then, obviously, the next 2 games, they come back and win. And Chaser always says, and I agree with him, if somehow San Jose would have been able to pull off a win in Game 6 of that series, they wouldn't have been able to ice a team for Game 7 because the Blues they'd pounded them into submission.
When I watch the Stanley Cup Finals now, Florida reminds me of the Blues. They just remind me of that Blues team that wave after wave smothering the opposition, and their defensemen are rough in the way that they play, and they push the puck, but somebody is on the puck pinning in the Edmonton Oilers, and it's just wave after wave of guys that are physical, and I don't know if you get the same feeling, but it just reminds me of the Blues in their Stanley Cup run.
And Paul Maurice is that guy. Do you hear Paul Maurice quotes? Do you ever listen to him?
Yeah.
And the best one was, I think, yesterday. He said, during the season, you're trying to get guys to play hard. You don't have to try to get guys to play hard. You just try to get them going all in the same direction during the playoffs. He said, but during the season, it's kind of like having to eat your vegetables. You get to the playoffs, there are no vegetables. You just eat the stuff that you like. And this is it. This is the stuff that we like that we're eating right now.
The 573 says, I watched the Blues win the Stanley Cup over my phone because I was on a hiking trip in Utah with no TV. My son was back at home watching the television broadcast, and he FaceTimed it so I could watch it. I mean, people were finding any kind of way to watch the games. I was doing the Cardinals, obviously, and I may or may not have had a TV next to the monitor that is there for the game I'm supposed to cover.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were watching the hockey game.
Oh, I was watching the hockey game. I can admit it now. I was paying attention to the hockey game, and it's funny. Like the Cardinals would get a base hit, and I'm like, base hit to right. Okay, let's see what's going on in the hockey game.
Exactly.
So
we want to hear from you. Use the 101 ESPN app, the mic drop feature, and we'll hear from you at 9 o'clock and at 9:45 with your mic drops about when you knew that the Blues that year, heck, we were Blues fans. We never knew the Blues were going to win the Stanley Cup.
Honestly, Randy, 10 seconds left in Game 7. I thought, okay, they might win this
The thing, Randy, you saying that you knew after the win streak, I'm like, man, you are a much more confident and well-adjusted person than I am. Because it took me till deep into the playoffs where I was like, okay, they have that level. They have the edge.
Well, we're going to talk to a guest who was within days of joining me down at Enterprise Center with a bucket, with a bunch of black salt, a mirror, and a picture of Scotty Bowman. So we'll talk about that with Michelle Smallmon at 9:30. But coming up next, it is Wednesday. It is Hump Day. It is Ask Uncle Randy Day. And summer is here, kids. How much fun are you having? Hey, be good, and if you can't be good, be careful, okay? But if you have a question, just text in now. The text line is open, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO!
Got a question about Yo-Ho.
Okay.
So that's my Yo-Ho. Okay. There's two of them.
Yeah.
Did BK do it on Monday?
He would not, no.
No, he wouldn't jump into the fray?
No.
Okay.
So I didn't follow him on Twitter. I told him I'd follow him on Twitter if he would give us one Yo-Ho. Nope, didn't work.
Does he follow you?
Oh, yeah.
But you won't follow him back?
Well, maybe next week. Maybe.
That's bad ball, Randall.
I'll follow him back if I get a Yo-Ho out of him.
Bad ball.
Pretty simple.
Okay.
It's quid pro quo. So anyway, your Ask Uncle Randy questions are next on 101 ESPN. In today's fast-paced world of digital marketing, making meaningful connections with your audience can be a daunting challenge for any business. But what if there was a place where connections aren't just made, but nurtured for growth? Enter 2060 Digital, our sister company right here at 101 ESPN, backed by a 100-year-old media empire. If you're a business owner or marketer seeking strategic ways to reach and engage customers, look no further than 2060 Digital. Just go to 101ESPN.com/2060 Digital, and with 12 years of expertise, 2060 specializes in simplifying the complexities of digital marketing. They can make a difference for your business, whether it's through social media. They're experts at that, having an exceptional website, and of course, if you want to be number one when somebody searches on that front page, when somebody searches for your business, 2060 Digital can help you out. Their expertise, whether it's enhancing your brand's online presence, optimizing digital campaigns, or increasing customer engagement, is superb. Go to 2060 Digital. All you need to do is go to 101ESPN.com/2060 Digital.
to his infinite well filled with wisdom to find you answers. Text 314-399-9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN.
I've been around, you know.
All right, time for your Ask Uncle Randy questions. Matthew's got them on the text line. Matthew, what do you got for us?
This is a heavy one to start, but let's
start with heavy.
dive right in.
Okay.
Uncle Randy, my wife has recently been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. She's in denial and thinks the blood tests were wrong and hasn't gone back and gotten retested. And she continues to eat meals late at night, and I've tried everything to get her retested to get this figure out. She won't tell any members of the family and believes that the test was wrong. What should I do in this situation?
Well, if she believes the test was wrong, I believe that she should get retested. You have to find a way. If she wants to lead a comfortable life, she needs to do a couple of things. Number one, if she doesn't think it's correct, she needs to get retested. The other thing she needs to do is find out where her blood sugar is. They have devices now to help diabetics so that they know at all times what their blood level, the blood glucose level is. And then she's got to either take medicine, insulin, or one of the many that are. There's a little pill with a big story to tell. She could take that one. Jardiance, big story to tell.
I'm just letting you handle this one.
Change your diet, but you need to convince her. Say, hey, okay, fine. You tell me that the result was wrong. Let's go back and get it double checked. Let's just go get a second opinion. And if you're right, you're right. I'm totally on board, and you can continue to eat your late night meals. But if I'm right, because I want to preserve you, I want you to be around, what we need to do is change our lifestyle, whether it's our diets or our medication or going to the doctor, because you don't want to be rolling around on a wheel on your right foot. You just don't. So I would say that. Yeah.
It's not a mistake. Dear Uncle Randy, my father-in-law keeps wanting to tell my daughter how to hit in softball, and I've told him numerous times, I've got this. You just sit back and enjoy watching your granddaughter play. But he doesn't listen. I'm telling my daughter to do something that I hear him saying the opposite kind of thing. What can I do to get him to stop? Baseball was the one thing I was good at in life, so I kind of feel like I know what I'm going to teach, but he's being a pain in the ass.
Well, I wouldn't give him access to the hitting aspect of your daughter, unless he's a former major leaguer who could hit. You know, obviously there are some of those guys around. Now, it doesn't sound like that's the case. It sounds like you were better at baseball than him. So I would say that, hey, I played. I know how I want her to hit. And this is an important thing for us because I want her to be able to get a college scholarship, and I don't want her to hear multiple voices.
What about trusting the coach, and then all of a sudden you take both of you out of the equation?
I want to give Mr. Rasmus the opportunity to coach his daughter here. No, there
was a lot of tinkering by Mr. Rasmus along the way.
There sure was.
Oh my gosh!
But here's the thing: if you were, and he says, baseball is the one thing I was good at. If you trust yourself, and you're going to get more time with your kid than the coach is. So if you're hitting with her on a regular basis every night, you want to groove her swing, you want to prepare her mentally to hit, and it's kind of like what the Cardinals have. You don't want to have too many voices in her ear.
That's where I'm at. I mean, maybe, though, if you trust the coach, then you go to your father-in-law and say, look, she's getting too many voices right now, and we're just going to leave it to a single voice, which is her coach.
That's a good play. And then on nights when she's not playing, then just do BP with her.
Yeah.
That's smart. Dear Uncle Randy, I was recently friend-zoned and decided to ghost the lady. She's now upset that I'm ignoring her without context. Am I required to say something now, or should I continue ghosting her?
There's a great old line here. If you have been friend-zoned. And that line is...
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
What does friend zone mean?
That means like he thought it was going to be a serious relationship. She just wants to be friends.
Okay, thank you.
And all you have to say is this: I got enough friends.
Well, looking for a romantic relationship.
Yeah, you're looking for more, and she doesn't want more. So just say, I got enough friends.
Okay, I like that. You're just upfront, you're honest, and put it on the table.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ghosted her already, it's not going to make any difference, right? So if she gets ticked off, so be it. But, because you got enough friends.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't ghost people. That's the bottom. I mean, in today's dating world, it's the worst thing to do. Just step up and explain that
Bumble.
You don't feel like having a platonic relationship.
Yeah.
She might not react to it well, but at least you're being honest.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Bumble that thing, right?
Well, no.
No, I think you bumble the next one.
Oh, you go on the app Bumble and you find the next love of your life.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way it works, right, Matthew? Matthew's the youngin' in the room.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, after you get friend zone, you go back to Bumble.
Bumble.
The Bumble, I loved the Bumble. Look at what he can do. And he can put the tip topper on the top of the tree. On Rudolph.
Dear Uncle Randy.
Yeah, that's where okay. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
Hey, more love advice on Uncle Randy, which always goes really well.
Always good.
Dear Uncle Randy, how long into talking to a girl and hanging out should you ask her to be your girlfriend?
Okay, this is an interesting question. I would say
Bumble.
I would say 2 weeks.
That's not the answer.
Bumble. No. That's how we get started. No, I would say if you're getting involved and
2 weeks, Randy, that's quick, man.
It's just to ask to be your girlfriend. That's all.
That's quick.
But no, I would suggest that if it's already on your mind, right, then it's got to be on her mind because you're pretty involved then. If both of you are thinking about it or one of you is thinking about it, then it's got to be on your mind. So if you are talking every day and you've gotten to know each other pretty well, I don't have any problem with asking, say, hey, now, age has a lot to do with this. But if you're looking for exclusivity, I would say that you feel it, So I would say that after a couple of weeks, if you're involved with her every single day and you're communicating and talking and dating and going out, I have no problem with a couple of weeks.
Why not just continue to date, but leave your quote-unquote options open. Yeah.
But we had a guy here that just got friend-zoned, and he wants to be in a relationship. It sounds like people are, it's summertime. I get it. It's the eyes of spring and heading into summer. I think...
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think that if you want to be in an exclusive relationship and you're feeling it, I would say... And one thing you can do, Dan, and I have a very good friend who's married to a woman now who didn't realize that they were in an exclusive relationship. He thought they were, and she was dating another guy. And so he had to tell her, this was well into the relationship, I thought we were in an exclusive relationship. And she said, you never said that. So sometimes you have to communicate that. And I would say after a couple of weeks, that's reasonable.
What if they met on Bumble?
I know this couple didn't meet. This couple met pre-Bumble.
Okay. What's wrong with you, Matthew? You all right?
I like getting your guys' relationship advice, and then words just like Bumble, just getting thrown in there without any context or meaning. Just Bumble, Hinge It, Tinder,
yeah.
Hinge It. Never knew about Hinge It either.
I think Hinge is how Brooke met her husband.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Randy, how do I deal with wanting to love a middling baseball team that just can't get over 500?
Well, here's the thing. When you love a team, that is an emotional attachment that is built up over time. And it's just something that you don't lose. We still, as bad as the Rams were, and they weren't mediocre, they were bad, but I still loved the Rams because they represented my city and I loved the sport. I have Dan, more than a 50-year relationship with the Cardinals. So just because they're mediocre doesn't mean that I'm going to have trouble liking them or investing emotionally in them. I still root for the Cardinals to succeed, and they are part of my DNA as somebody who grew up in St. Louis going to the games.
And maybe your connection is to an individual player, too.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun to watch or be a part of that connection.
Yeah. Can you repeat? Do you still have that up there, Matthew? How do you? How do I
quit a middling baseball team that just get over 500?
I don't think you have to quit it. Now, here's the thing. You're 25, 30 years old. You've never had to deal with mediocrity before.
Isn't that the truth?
You're kind of spoiled here in St. Louis, and that's not a bad thing. The Cardinals did that because from 2000 until 2023, they were pretty awesome. They went from 2010 until last year with 5 days of seasons. 5 days where they weren't in mathematical playoff contention for a playoff spot.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. 2010 to 2023, they went 5 days without being in playoff contention. So we're kind of learning how the other half lives right now. But being a fan, to me, means being invested. And when things are bad, that's when your fandom is most important. Is that it? We're done? Okay, that's fine.
I thought you did a hell of a job in that segment. A lot of good advice.
I appreciate that, Daniel. Appreciate that.
Bumble.
Coming up, one of the great stories coming out of our Stanley Cup championship was Boom Boom Gunnarsson. And he's going to join us next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday fall to the Pirates 2-1. Paul Skenes, rookie phenom, mows the Cardinals down, throws 6 1/3 scoreless with 5 hits allowed and 8 strikeouts. The Cardinals will look to get a win in the series with a 6:45 start tonight against the Pirates. It'll be Sonny Gray against the lefty for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Bailey Falter. Falter on the season hasn't done it much. 3-3 with a 3.69 ERA and a 1.04 WHIP through 68 1/3 innings. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
And a shot and a save. It's still loose. O'Reilly in front. Gunnarsson shoots. He scores! Gunnarsson has done it again.
Yeah, great job by the forwards. I guess that wasn't a boom, but it still got in there. And, we'll take them any way they come right now. It's perfect.
Get it. Barbashev to Sundquist. He launched it wide. The late penalty against Boston. Gunnarsson to O'Reilly. To Gunnarsson. He scores! Boom, boom, Gunnarsson! Bring out the Zamboni. The Blues win game 2. 3-2 the final. They're coming home tied at 1.
That was game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals in 2019 on May 29th. Boom, boom, Gunnarsson scoring for the Blues, 3:51 into overtime, and the Blues even the series with the Boston Bruins. With Dan McLaughlin, I'm Randy Carricker. Happy We Went Blues Day. It was 5 years ago today that the Blues won the Stanley Cup with a 4-1 win over the Boston Bruins in Game 7. And Carl Gunnarsson joins us now from his hometown in Sweden here on 101 ESPN. Carl, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Is it morning there?
Afternoon right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
been up for quite a bit.
Okay, good. Hey, thanks for taking some time with us. I want to start with this because it's one of the all-time great sports stories. You and Chief in the restroom between the third period and overtime. Can you just tell us that story again?
Yeah, I guess it's been told so many times, so one more time doesn't hurt, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, it was, game 2 there in Boston, and, I think we had a tied game. I almost had one at the end of the third period, hit the post, and, then in the break after the third, going out for overtime, we went to the pisser. Not together, sounds weird, but right in there, we were just he told me, he's like, yeah, that was a close one, Gutty. Yeah, I just need one more, and one more was all it took. And then I kind of forgot about that whole thing, but then he brought it up. Maybe I was in there after, and it became a story, which with a lot of other stuff during the whole Cup run, it just adds to that whole to the whole run. It's pretty funny story.
In the regular season, when did you guys realize, and from your perspective, when did you realize that, you know what, we've got a good team, we're not playing to our capabilities, and we could make a run?
I think we felt the whole year we had a good team, and then things were just not going our way. We just felt the whole, we got a good team here. We can do something, but, after everything happened there with the coaching change and then Binner coming in, we started to win some games, and we got some we started some wins together. I can't remember the date or what game it was, but we got that good feeling getting a couple wins together, and then we were on the roll, especially on the road. I don't know why, but we got together and our morale was just high, and we never gave up. That was our thing, and I can't say this day or that game when it happened, but we just had that good feeling. And during the season too, when we struggled, in the fall and during the winter, there it was tough. But we felt like we had a better team than we were in the standings.
And Carl, you and your defensive teammates, you were the example of a shutdown defense. Weren't you? That group of defensemen as a unit, and the way you played together was phenomenal.
Yeah, we rotated quite a bit on a few of us. We had some offensive power too with Petro and Parayko, Dunn. Guys that can score a lot of points, and then we just kind of rotated through that whole thing with injuries and all that. But shutdown for sure, and then adding Binner back there too was huge for us.
How about your day with the Cup? What comes to mind when you think about having the Stanley Cup in your hands?
We're actually talking. I'm at my parents right now, helping out with some house stuff, and I brought the cup here. Had some family over. We're just talking about that, and then brought it down to the rink where it all started. Had some kids come in, take some photos. Brought it to the big square, the town square, and had a big party with it late at night too, with just family and friends, and it was packed. Like every minute, it was just planned. Doing this and that, and then people coming over, and it was a great party. And then at midnight, I think they just grabbed it and took it to the next spot. So it was intense. It was intense, and it was weird because you never have time to kind of like relax and really enjoy the day until the day after, or 2 days after. You're like, oh wow, that was great.
You guys really did enjoy the day after the Stanley Cup at O.B. Clark's, and then the 2 and the 3 days after. Carl, what was the parade like for you?
I didn't know what to expect. I thought, I'm a Liverpool fan, soccer, and they won the Champions League that year. You see all the pics. They were parading downtown Liverpool with this big double-decker, the buses. And I thought we'd do something like that. But then everyone was in their own cars. I was quite hesitant at first, but then we turned the corner onto Market Street, and it was just one of the best parties and best experiences of my life. I could never have imagined that. So that's a memory that will last a lifetime for sure.
How often do you talk to your teammates from that Stanley Cup run and just kind of keep up with each other to find out what each other's doing and families and life and all the things that can change after that run?
There's a few of the guys, I talk to more than others on I wouldn't say a daily basis, but, stay in touch with texts and a couple of phone calls here and there. But then everyone's so busy with their own thing, and, a lot of the guys are still playing. But yeah, it's a day like this when they kind of reach out again and just see like, hey, buddy, what's up? Remember 5 years ago? What's going on? It's a good opportunity to kind of keep that bond too.
A couple more things for former Blues defenseman Carl Gunnarsson here on We Went Blues Day on 101 ESPN. Chief was on the air last week after he took the job in Toronto and was asked about when in the game against Boston 5 years ago today, he knew the Blues would win. And he, being a coach, he said when the final buzzer went off. How about you? You guys are up 4-1. Sanford gets the goal to put you up 4-0. When did you realize, hey, we're going to win this thing?
I think it was like 10 seconds to go, I think we clear the puck, and I look up on the clock, and it's like ticking down, 10, 9, 8, whatever it is. It's not a whole lot of seconds, but I heard guys on the bench before that kind of, this might be it. I'm like, no, we can't talk about that yet, but it's, boys, it's still a full minute. So I never took, 10 last seconds that I could kind of like take a breather and like, oh, that's it.
Carl, what keeps you busy these days? What are you up to?
Right now, kids are on summer break, so I'll take care of them a little bit. But other than that, I'm working with a team here in my hometown. We're in the SHL, so I'm on the board doing some work there, and then I am an instructor on the ice for the defensemen for the high school program during the season. So that's kind of it.
And I know this is a weird question, but how has having your name on the cup and having been on the ice that night in Boston changed Carl Gunnarsson's life?
I don't know. It's just right now being retired and all that. It's just nice to look back at. I was very blessed having a long career. Spent at two different places, which I love, both of them in different ways. But looking back and then having that, no one can take that away from you, no matter how you got there, no matter how you did it. And it just feels great to just have that, and all the memories that comes with it. You're looking at guys around the league now, they're playing. Some guys been out there for like 15, almost 20 years, and, they never get the chance to win. So I'm very happy about it. I feel blessed in that way, for sure.
What's your favorite memory? And it could be you and Chief going to the bathroom at the same time. I don't know. Maybe the goal, or seeing a guy that had been in the league, like you said, a long time, winning the cup. What was your favorite memory from that run?
Tough to pick one. There's a ton. It all blends together, Bowmeister, for a guy like that, win the cup and what he's been doing for his whole career. It's kind of great to see him lift the cup. Then we had the Swedes, obviously. That's a little special too, close to the heart. And then just the bond we had together. It's a lot of things going into it, and then you remember all the stuff after the parade, hoisting the cup by yourself, having the day with the cup, but just everything leading up to it. The season. There's a ton of stories. We're in last place for a bit, and then to turn it around like that, it just kind of speaks of the character we had as a team, and. There's so many things. I just can't pick one. It all blends together, and there's so many good memories.
Well, you were a huge part of it and a fan favorite here in St. Louis, Carl. Congratulations on that 5 years ago. It's amazing how time flies, but thanks for your time today. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. Have a great day. That's Carl Gunnarsson, former Blues defenseman, number 4. Boom, boom, here on 101 ESPN.
That was great. I really enjoyed hearing from him again, and I love the story. I've heard it a million times, like everybody else, about going to the bathroom next to Chief, and how that's one of the stories that we remember. But, man, what a story it is, and what a run it was. And he had, as you mentioned, Randy, a big part of it.
Yep. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line for Tioli, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Take it or leave it next on 101 ESPN. Father's Day is upon us, and you still don't have a gift for Dad? Well, I've got an option for you. It is called Sound Story, and if you use the promo code ESPN now through Father's Day, you can get a 10% discount when you get your dad a Sound Story, and you can use the new video option so that you never forget Dad's face and his smile and his laugh. You can save it for your family to enjoy. Here's what Sound Story is. It's an hour-long podcast, an interview of your loved one or yourself that you can preserve forever so that the person's memory who's interviewed is always available to that person's children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren. It's a professionally produced hour-long conversation, and Dad is the star. He's interviewed by either myself or Tim McKernan or Anthony Stalter, and you and your siblings can go in on a gift certificate for Dad and get him a Sound Story at mysoundstory.com. Just enter the promo code ESPN and get 10% off that Sound Story gift certificate. It's easy to do, and you can have Dad get the perfect gift, and it's easy for you, and it's something that he doesn't have already. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there? If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
It is time for Tioli here on 101 ESPN. Dan, Matthew, Randy, and you get your text in. 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Danny, take it or leave it. The Cardinals, who now are behind the Pirates in the division, at some point in the rest of the season will be ahead of the Pirates.
I'm going to take that, and I think it's because they will add. Now, the Pirates have put themselves in a position to probably add as well. Mm-hmm. I do like the back end of their bullpen, the way that they used Aroldis Chapman, the fact that they have a really good eighth-inning guy. Their closer can at times be very good. So it's going to be back and forth, but I do think that it's going to be interesting for me, Randy, is all the teams in the Central, how they approach the trade deadline. And because there is parity in baseball, how many of these teams make moves? And I think you can make a case for every team in the Central to do that.
Including Milwaukee. Milwaukee is not a perfect team by any stretch.
I agree, especially with all the injuries that they've had. So it's something to watch moving forward. Okay, this is interesting to me. The Phillies win again. They're now 46-20. The only time they've had a better start after 46 games was in 1976. They now have a 10-game lead in the National League East. Take it or leave it. It's not the Dodgers the National League is chasing. It's the Phillies.
I'm going to take that. They've got stud starting pitching, which is where it all starts. But their offense is great, too, with Bryce Harper being healthy. And remember, he didn't play the first half of last year, and they moved him to first base. And he's been great ever since. He is an MVP every time he plays. But they're getting good work again, as you mentioned, out of Schwarber. Castellanos is doing his thing. You know who's playing great for them is Edmundo Sosa.
Yes, he is.
They're just set up to win. Dave Dombrowski is going to be a Hall of Fame general manager. He's one of the best ever.
And we didn't even mention Trey Turner,
right?
Alec Boehm.
Yeah.
And they've got an injury now to JT Realmuto. It's going to be the first time that he, along with the backup, at some point will not be the 1-2 punch because the backup will get some starts and then for the current backup, but it's first time in like 3 years that they haven't had that run of those catchers together. That's stability right now.
Big time, big time. All right, to your texts, Matthew. By the way, Edmundo Sosa hitting .286 with an .873 OPS this year for the Phillies. So he's got 112 at-bats now playing for Trey Turner. All right, what do we got on the text line, Matthew?
Take it or leave it. It's time for Ollie to get tossed again.
I'll take it. Yep.
Yeah, I think you got to take it the way that things are going. Last time it seemed to work, and it seemed like it has worked before, kind of lit a fire under the old boys with the birds on the bat.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the Sosa thing. That's a great deal, really, for both teams. That's a good old baseball trade to where you hope that the other team gets something out of it. You get something out of it. You're not just dumping a player on the other team. That's just a fair, good old baseball trade. That's been good for both sides.
I was very happy that the Cardinals at that stage were able to get something for Sosa.
I'm with you.
And Romero has turned out to be, as we know, a great setup guy.
Matthew? Uh-oh.
Take it or leave it. You will always get goosebumps and or tear up whenever you hear the Blues' final call.
Oh, take it. Yeah, always.
I always get goosebumps. I don't think I tear up. I was a little teary-eyed.
You're not a crier.
Not really.
We've established this.
Yeah, not really. I was a little teary, though. Game 7. Made me think of my dad.
Okay.
So my dad has been deceased for a long time, and one of the things that was a connection for us was sports, especially Blues hockey. He used to throw things at the TV back in the day. Yeah, when they would be ousted by Minnesota or Toronto, in the old days. Randall, you watched him, and
I didn't throw stuff at the TV. I threw it at the wall.
You've done that even on this station.
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
The only time I ever saw my parents throw anything at a Cardinals or a Blues game was when Brett Hull won his first Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah.
They were not too happy about that final.
Because his
foot was in the crease.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. The majority of the fan base says yo-ho when Randy says it.
I'll take it.
Oh, I'm going to leave that.
I ain't taking everything.
Yo-ho.
I think there's a lot of people that are on the bus of non-yo-ho. I really do. They're the silent
don't
majority.
Understand. They think we're just like saying a nonsense phrase to be goofy, and they don't actually get that there's like a reason behind it. Because the amount of times we get texts, they just go, "You guys have been doing yo-ho for a year and a half. I've been listening to the entire time. I've never once understood why."
Okay, so let's do it.
I don't understand why.
Go to your phone.
It's not hard.
And go to where you use your phone, if you do, and go to the keypad.
Here's the thing, Randy. If you have like an iPhone, when you go to unlock your phone, the numbers are on, the letters are on that unlock keypad. So like you see it every day.
9 has a Y in it. 6 has an O in it. 4 has an H in it, and 6 has the O in it. I don't know where else you go, unless it's yo-ho. I don't know what other word you pick up.
We tried. We couldn't figure it out.
How about just going 9646?
What the heck are you
That's
talking
too
about?
long. We got to abbreviate things in this business.
So what made you, though, go to the keypad on your phone
So you always
or
do.
the buttons and look for it? So you guys
Tradition?
were just, were just talking about it one day, and this came about?
Well, so our other, we had a short code, 65780, doesn't exist anymore. So we needed something short. And so that's why we have yo-ho. We could have gone with Zoho, I guess, or Woho, or
That would have been ridiculous.
or Wogo.
I get a lot of people that back me on this, Randy.
would've been
Just
ridiculous.
one a day.
Well, you know what? Just try having fun sometime.
That's
Oh,
my
you're
thing.
saying I don't have fun?
No, you have fun because you do it.
That's my thing.
I do it one time a show.
Yeah, you do.
Don't take shots at
No,
me.
you don't hate it. You obviously you
I embrace it.
You
Just-
do.
But the
You
people
know.
who text in every time will text in, "Stop it! It's the dumbest thing in the world. Like you guys are not children. Stop acting like it." And it's like I don't understand how you walk through the world and you see somebody doing something that is harmless and not even goofy, just like the littlest bit off, and you're just like, you know what? Stop it! How dare you? Stop it! Act normal. I don't understand people who walk around the world like that.
Trying to think of what the dumbest thing in the world is. Dumbness.
There's a lot of things.
I don't think yo-ho is it.
No. I don't know. Could that work?
Take it or leave it. Kids these days don't know the texting struggles of 20 years ago.
Oh, I'll take that.
Taking that.
Yeah, totally. Take it.
If you grew up in the era of T9, like that scene in The Departed when he texts in his pocket, child's play. Child's play. I could have done that all day long at 13.
I was at dinner one night with, this is probably about 5 years ago, with Bob Costas, and I said, why do you have it was a flip phone, I think. He still had his flip phone, but yet did text me under the table without looking to the other side of the table, which was my phone, and was able to get the text out. So there's some that are old school and just do it that way.
Bob has come into the smartphone age. He even sends emojis now.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I haven't texted with him in a while.
Yeah, Tony La Russa sends emojis.
Yes, I've gotten texts from Tony La
Great.
Russa with emojis.
78, 79-year-old Tony La Russa.
Is he 80 yet?
I think he might be. I don't know. Let's check. But yeah, so Tony's working with emojis. So that's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, yeah. I
do emojis.
There's a lot of response on this this yo-ho thing.
Uh-huh.
I'd say it's split. It's 50.
Tony will be 80 in October.
We inevitably got someone who said, like, stop doing it, grow up. I do not understand your view of life.
I'm not
That's
growing
the
up.
fact of the matter. I don't understand people who say grow up.
Growing up
Why?
is not happening.
I did grow up. It sucks. It's so much worse than being a kid. Why would I want to, like,
right,
sap any bit of childhood, like, life and fun from my life at this point? I have to pay bills. That's done a lot of it already.
Yo-No would be 9666. Yeah, I'm with you, Matthew. I'm not. We are growing up in this room. I'll tell you that for darn sure.
Yeah, right.
All right. Thank you very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. Coming up, will the Cardinals be above 500 by the end of June? And what would that cause them to do at the deadline? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, St. Louis is on the comeback trail from a business standpoint, and if you really want to be a part of the comeback of St. Louis, you need to get to NetSuite's Business Grows Here event. It's coming to St. Louis on Thursday, June 27th, and it is a great business seminar. NetSuite knows St. Louis is a hub for entrepreneurs, and we have forward-thinking founders and a top talent pool and pro-business leadership. So we are a great spot to start a business, and you can apply to attend the business event of the year taking place at Union Station Hotel on Tuesday, June 27th. Here's what you need to know. Jamie Siminoff, who started Ring Doorbell, we all know about Ring Doorbell. He is a genius in business. He's going to be speaking, and his next company is headquartered right here in St. Louis. So he understands how valuable St. Louis is and how valuable business in St. Louis can be. NetSuite by Oracle Business Grows Here is free to attend if you qualify, and all you need to apply is go to netsuite.com/Missouri. netsuite.com/Missouri. If you want your business to take off, go to this seminar. Apply now at netsuite.com/Missouri.
perspective on today's top stories. This is Fresh Take.
Presented by Lindenwood University. Real experience, real success.
In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Cardinals now hold the 5th spot in the National League Central. They're 31-34. And Danny, during the course of this month, they have 18 games left. 2 against the Pirates, 3 against the Cubs, 3 against the Marlins, 3 against the Giants. Then they get Atlanta for 3 and the Reds for 4 to close out June. When I look at the schedule, I wonder if the Cardinals can play, and I just don't know what the Cardinals are on a regular basis. I wonder if they can play 3 over 500. They went 12-3 over a 15-game stretch, but at this stage, against the Pirates, Cubs, Marlins, Giants, Braves, and Reds, are the Cardinals, they're capable.
Why would you think they're better than those teams?
Right, that's my question. Can the Cardinals play 3 games over 500 against those teams?
They got to play better at home. They're now 500 at home. They're 15-15. They've gone 5-6 against the Marlins, the White Sox, the Mets, and the Rockies. Now, I thought last night, I don't know if you agree with this, because my point is that Goldie Arenado have got to be better. They've hit 4 home runs at home. They've hit 4 at Busch Stadium this year. I thought Arenado's game last night was maybe the best game that he's played of the season. He had a couple of hits. I love the way that he was running. He went first to third at one time, tagged up from second another time. The out at third, there's 2 of them that stand out. The double play, obviously, and a key time in the game, but the out at third on the bunt play.
Yeah.
I thought, he played one of the best games that we've seen him, if not the best game of the season. But I bring it up because how many times do we say this? Your big guys have to be really good, and they're not doing it at home, and you've got a good portion of those games of the schedule that you mentioned at home.
And neither Goldie, although Goldie, it's interesting because he's not having a great year, but he does something small every night, right? Although he had, the 9-game on-base streak end last night. But the Cardinals need Arenado and Goldschmidt, and the reason you give those guys the money, they need them to carry the team for a time. They can't have a good game here, a good game there. There needs to be a 2-week stretch where Arenado carries the team. He's capable of it. There needs to be a 2-week stretch where Goldschmidt does that, and they need to be better. That being said, John Mozeliak talked over the weekend about going out and getting pitching and getting a right-handed hitting center fielder, a right-handed hitting player that can play center field. Does that tell you that they have no expectation for Tommy Edman this year?
It lends itself to that. I just don't know when you're going to get him back. I don't think anybody understands the importance that he means to this team. I'm not talking about Babe Ruth in the middle of your lineup, but he's going to be better than what you've had. Randy, the center field position is giving you nothing offensively. No disrespect to Michael Ciani, but he's not producing at a high level. He can bunt, he can run, plays great defense, but you need Tommy Edman, you need Lars Nootbaar, and at some point you need Jordan Walker. Somebody needs to emerge from that trio to give you a jolt in this offense. And again, last night, they go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They leave 8 on. 2 in the 5th. Key spot was Carpenter, Paje, Ciani coming up with nobody out, and they cannot come through. The offense right now, 14th among 15 in the National League, averaging under 4 runs a game, and they're 14th with runners in scoring position, hitting .215. So when you think about where they need to get production, it's got to come from those big 2 guys, but you got to sprinkle in some of the guys that you're talking about, and maybe Tommy Edman is one of those players.
And another guy, and I guess the Cardinals have just soured on Dylan Carlson, because the one thing that he's been able to do is hit right-handed.
Yes.
Right? He's a .295 career hitter, right-handed, with an .817 OPS. That's for his career, 416 plate appearances. That, to me, is a pretty good sample size. And for whatever reason, he's not the guy that is a right-handed hitter that can play center field once in a while.
I think they don't feel comfortable with him in center defensively. His metrics are not good. He's a minus defensive runs type player in center field, and I think that lends itself to them saying, maybe this is our fourth or fifth outfielder that we're going to deal with right now. He's not going to bat left-handed, and other teams can match up later in games, bringing in a lefty like Chapman came in last night. You don't want Dylan Carlson hitting against Aroldis Chapman, or excuse me, the right-hander coming in the eighth, and yet another one coming in. You don't want him hitting left-handed. So I think that's one of the problems that they have, is that they're pigeonholed, saying that he is hitting from one side of the plate, which limits then his opportunities to get on the field.
Yeah, I look at Katie Woo's piece in The Athletic, where she said, based on their needs, expect the Cardinals to be in the market for depth pieces. This includes in their rotation and off the bench. And I look at the fact that they don't have any of their opening day starting outfielders, and they're missing a guy who can be a really nice depth piece in Tommy Edman around the diamond. I get the pitching thing, because they mishandled the pitching thing during the offseason. But they should have, it's inexcusable for this team to not have enough depth pieces.
So that lends the question is, when does Walker, what do you have to see? Jordan Walker hit a home run last night, also had a single. What do you need to see from him? At what point do you say, okay, may not be exactly what we want. He may not be hitting the home runs. Maybe he's not driving the ball the way that they want. But at what point do you bring him up and say, we are desperate for some type of production, and we're going to roll the dice at this point with this kid and see where it goes?
I got the sense when John Mozeliak told the bloggers and podcasters over the weekend, when he said we rushed Jordan Walker last year, it seems like they want to give him an extended amount of time in AAA that they didn't give him last year because they wanted him to be on the team.
Still, I'd want to see or hear the answer of, okay, and I'm with that. But what do you
have to see?
Yeah, what do you truly have to see from him to bring him up? Because that is a huge. I don't think you can overlook that. You were counting on the Jordan Walker of the second half of last year. What do you need to see for him to be a part of the major league team? And I don't think any of us really have the answer to that.
And I don't think that Jordan Walker does. Here's the thing with the Cardinals. And if you were going to ask me my biggest complaint about the organization from a baseball standpoint, obviously I have multiples, okay? But the fact that they care more about process than results drives me crazy. And this guy can hit down there, and he might not hit home runs. He might be a doubles hitter. But they want him, because he's tall and because he's 6'6", 260, they want him to be what they project him to be because of what he looks like. Rather than accepting the player that he is, they want the player that they want him to be. And so they're looking for launch angle. They're looking for all of this stuff rather than letting Jordan Walker be the player that he is.
I don't think we can overlook the injuries. I just don't. I mean, the injuries have been a big part of what's happening right now. And I get it. Who's going to fill in once these guys are hurt? Where's your depth? You don't have it. I mean, you look at the game last night, you're pinch hitting Fermin. You're looking at a Ciani coming up in big spots. You have Pedro Pages. I mean, the back end of that lineup is not where it needed to be. You had Matt Carpenter there as well. They had the game in the fifth inning if they score. I think if they score in that inning, I think they win the game. I really do. And so the depth right now is being tested, and it's not where it needs to be.
And that's my point here, is if you're looking for depth pieces, and I know people hate to say, well, the trade comes at the deadline when you get player X back, but I think with the Cardinals, that's reality. If Walker steps up, if Nootbaar comes back, if Edman becomes available, then all of a sudden, why are you trading for a right-handed hitting center fielder?
Yeah, so that goes back to your question of when is Tommy Edman officially going to be back? And is it a month and a half? Can you buy time? Right now, you're trying to buy time with Ciani. You're trying to buy time with other players, but at some point, you got to run out of time, and you do have to go out and get somebody.
Right, and you might as well, if you're going to do it, and I know it's hard to make trades, but you got to do that now. That's not a trade to make at the deadline. And you still might be in the hunt. But if you're going to get a right-handed hitting center fielder, you might as well get somebody that can really hit.
I was saying this the other day. I think the first team that pulls the trigger, you may overpay, but might be the best team in terms of what you do at the deadline, because so many teams are still in it. And the wild card allows itself to have other teams believe that they're in it, and they're going to have they've got some of the same deficiencies that you do. So that player is out there, whomever you target, and it just comes down to whether or not you want to pull the trigger early.
By the way, a late Tioli here, and I was texting with BT about this last night during the game. Take it or leave it. Aroldis Chapman is a Hall of Famer.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that.
For every pitcher in the history of baseball that's thrown at least 500 innings, his 14.8 Ks per nine are number one.
Is it really?
322 saves.
He's got 322?
Yep.
Wow, and he began as a starter.
Yeah, right.
Remember, that's the other thing,
Reds,
too.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder what the benchmark is now for saves. You know, it used to be, if you got to 300, man, you were in.
But look how long it took Lee Smith to get in, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's the guy, and I think postseason success has a lot to do with it for four closers. I mean, it's Eckersley, it's Fingers, it's Suter, it's Mariano Rivera, it's Hoffman, right? And Hoffman never, but he had did he have 600?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who else? Jeff Reardon isn't there. Billy Wagner isn't there.
Is he Billy Wagner 2.0? He might be.
Yeah, might be. Yeah,
he might be.
Yeah.
Well, so what was you and BT? What did you guys come up with?
I think that statistic right there, the 14.8 Ks per nine.
In this day and age of power pitching.
Yeah. I think he is a Hall of Famer.
What did BT think?
He agreed. Yeah. But we both have Kimbrel in and
Billy Wagner.
I think it's a crime that Billy Wagner isn't in the Hall of Fame already.
Agreed. He should be in.
And then there's one other closer right now, Kimbrel and Kenley Jansen. I think Kenley Jansen's Hall of Famer too.
He's close. Yeah. All these guys should get major conversation for that point. I think the other thing that helps, even though he had his ups and downs, for Chapman is playing in New York.
Right.
So you got the big media market where a lot of people are looking at him closer than maybe you would see what he's doing here with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right.
And the Cincinnati Reds for all those years.
Right. And just don't look at what he did in the World Series for the Cubs.
That's kind of what I'm saying. There was those ups and downs.
Yeah, right. Coming up, Dan mentioned what Jordan Walker is up to. We'll give you a little bit more in-depth on Walker and some of the things going on with Cardinals minor leaguers and injuries next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Pirates manufacture just enough offense late. I'm Bradford Bruns with your Redbird report. Last night's crowd at Busch Stadium saw superb turns from both starting pitchers, but ultimately, bullpen execution was the difference. Pittsburgh claims round one from St. Louis 2-1. Ninth inning, Ryan Helsley can't get through a bases-loaded jam unscathed. An RBI ground out by Connor Joe. Then O'Neal Cruz adds his sacrifice fly. Nolan Gorman's team-high 15th homer minutes later made things very interesting, yet Pittsburgh closer David Bednar settled down from there. Earlier, Paul Skenes and Miles Mikolas had gone back and forth. Skenes fired 103 pitches through 6+ frames, fanning 8, while Mikolas retired the first 16 batters he faced. Sonny Gray receives this evening's assignment 6:45 style versus Bailey Falter.
The Redbird Report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
Hey, it's Danny Mac on this Wednesday. Want to tell you about Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refinance, if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, and maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things, hey, let me make it easy for you. Call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage, and he's going to help you every step of the way. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he'll get you to the closing table fast. Try 10 days, and he'll get you the best interest rate possible. And he also has the bagel loan, and that can help you out too. So you're asking, what is the bagel loan? You hear all about it here on 101 ESPN. If you borrowed $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewart is your guy. He makes it easy. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewie a call. Call him directly or text him on his personal cell phone. And here is that number, 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440, or Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
The Cardinal young starter that they got from Toronto last year in one of the trades with the Blue Jays, Adam Kloffenstein, went 5 scoreless innings for Memphis last night. He allowed 2 hits. He struck out 6 and walked 3 as Memphis won by a score of 4-1. And Kloffenstein seems to be finding his way, Dan. I wonder if he's a guy that is on the Cardinals' radar for this year as a possible pitcher.
I wonder what the direction is, too, with some of even the starters, Randy. Do you say that this will translate into an inning of work? So maybe not the full body of work, 5 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings as a starter here at the major league level. But can you get something coming out of the bullpen if you need a 1-inning guy to bridge the gap to what is now the big three? And the big three has a little cracks in their armor here recently, as we saw with Helsley last night. However, does one of these guys translate into giving you an inning or two coming out of the bullpen? And you're still unsettled with your 5th starter spot with Palante. He's had 2 good starts out of the 3. You're buying some time with him as he continues to progress in that role. But I'd be intrigued before I'd pull the trigger maybe on one of those deals that we talked about and going outside the organization. Do you feel that you have enough to where one of these guys could come up and give you an inning or two coming out of your bullpen?
Back in 1985, Whitey Herzog and the Cardinals, and there was a lot of communication between Whitey and the minor leagues. They made the determination that Todd Worrell just didn't have the stamina to be a starter. And they they brought him up and moved him to the bullpen.
Yeah.
And turned him into a closer, and he wound up being a great all-star closer for a lot of years. I wonder if the Cardinals are closing in on that thought process for a guy like Gordon Graceffo, who was their minor league pitcher of the year a couple of years ago. His last outing, he did go 5 innings, but he allowed 4 runs. The inning before that, he went 6 and allowed 2, but he's gone 4 1/3, 5 1/3, 5 innings. He did have a couple of 7 inning outings, but he's inconsistent. And I wonder if the Cardinals might serve Graceffo better to use him kind of like they used Adam Wainwright in 2006 when he was in the bullpen. He wasn't the closer until the end, but he had stuff that they knew translated to starting at the major league level. I wonder if Graceffo is a guy, he's got swing and miss, that would benefit the Cardinals being up here in that bullpen like you're talking about.
Well, you just said it. I think it's got to be swing and miss. And you can put up some numbers down in the minor leagues that are the traditional numbers, but are you getting swing and miss from your pitchers?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing I look at is OPS and everybody's looking at OPS, but I got to look at the OPS with hitters down in the minor leagues, because sometimes you look at what's happening with an average, and it's maybe not the real story. The underlying story is that someone's getting on base and hitting for power when they do put the ball in play. So OPS is what I'm looking at. Do they have those guys? I think if they did, they'd be here already.
Yeah.
They'd be here. And so that's why maybe you have to look outside the organization.
And the Cardinals don't really have any offensive oomph on the horizon. We already mentioned that Jordan Walker hit a home run last night. He was 3 for 5. His OPS is up to 725 down at Memphis. But Victor Scott goes 0 for 5. Not that he's going to provide oomph, but his batting average is down to 196. OPS down to 567. Lucan Baker is having a less prolific home run in the home run department this year than last, but his OPS is 891. Prieto was the Cardinals minor league player of the month last month, and he's hitting okay down there. Thomas Ajacey, though, is hitting only 229, and I know a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for him, and that OPS is down to 698.
Not what you want. So do they have enough, I guess, is the question. Do you want to, sometimes too, and I'm not saying that this is what they're going to do, but you just take a flyer on a guy. You bring him up, you see maybe in his last 2 or 3 starts, you're getting more swing and miss, and you say, right now we have a need, bring him up. And they are aggressive in how they move guys in the minor league system and guys to the major leagues. But I still feel like if they felt comfortable with these guys and bringing them up to the major leagues, they'd be here, especially with some of the deficiencies that you have coming off the bench and what you have in the back or the middle of your innings to get to the back end of your bullpen. I just think they'd be here.
Now, a couple of injury notes for you. Number 1, Wilson Contreras is catching bullpens. He's hitting flips and could be in a rehab game as soon as next week. That, according to Jeff Jones of the Belleville News-Democrat. So might be looking at 2 weeks for Contreras. And Tommy Edman on field for pregame BP yesterday.
Steven Matz also, and Gallegos pitched, I believe, yesterday. Steven Matz was not effective. I think there was 5 runs, but they were all unearned, something like that. They need him. They need him to be decent. And maybe the move here is that you get him back up. Palante would move to the bullpen. You could do something with that. Or does Palante continue to be stretched out as a starter because you don't have faith in Matz staying healthy? But they need Steven Matz to be decent. Doesn't have to be great. Doesn't even have to be good. Just be decent to give you 5 innings and stay in some of these games.
Number 5 starter, right?
Yeah, that's what he is. I mean, at this point in his career, that's exactly what he is. And I also like having a lefty in my rotation.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yep.
And he's got good stuff. I mean, the Cardinals signed him off of a really good year in Toronto. He had a good year with the Mets. He just can't stay healthy here. That's his biggest issue.
Maybe the move is, Randy, that I don't think they would do this, but Palante stays in the 5th starter's role, and Steven Matz becomes kind of a long guy, and there's not a lot of long guys anymore in baseball, but he becomes that one-inning guy that is shut down. He's a shutdown guy, and he's better. He's been better coming out of the bullpen. It's just more aggressive, fastball in on righties. His stuff is sharper, and he lets it go. And as a starter, you don't do that. You hold back a little bit, but as a reliever, he can just let it go. I think that's what's happened with Matthew Liberatore. He's been better out of the bullpen.
Right, exactly. Last night, by the way, Matz, here's the numbers. An inning and 2/3, 5 runs, none earned. He allowed 3 hits, walked 1, and struck out 3. 35 pitches, 23 strikes, but he did commit 2 errors.
That's the one.
That led to the unearned runs. 1 fielding and 1 throwing error.
Yeah, not what you want to see, but I don't worry about the errors. The errors are going to take care of themselves. What I worry about is him getting extended a little bit to get back to the major leagues.
Yeah, and Matthew, he's coming back from a back injury.
Oh, God.
Yeah, how long do you think he's been dealing with that?
I think about a week back.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see. The fight is coming up.
Yeah. Well, you want to do that? You want to do the fight?
Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, Kyle Gibson coming up, too.
We got Brayden Schenn.
Shennery at 9:15.
Michelle Smallmon.
9:30. So we got quite a show
Rocc and Roll.
A lot coming your way here.
All that coming your way.
Including the fight next on 101 ESPN. I'm going to make my way over to Mentality later today. Mentality is a great St. Louis-based clinic that allows you to get your energy level back as you age. And guys, when we pass our 30th birthday, our testosterone level drops and our energy level drops. At Mentality at lowtusa.com, they're going to tell you what they do. And I can tell you what they do. They're going to have their board-certified physicians do a complete panel of your blood work and find out where your testosterone level is. And once they do, and it's going to be low because inevitably our testosterone level does go down, they're going to restore it to where it was when you were in your 20s. And that will increase your energy level and get you back that energy so that you can go on a run or a bike ride or get through a workout or coach the kids at night and you don't just go home and crash. It's a difference maker for thousands of guys in the St. Louis area, and that Mentality can be a difference maker for you too. Learn more now by going to lowtusa.com and then set up your appointment at either their Chesterfield or South County clinics. Great doctors and nurses to work with and people that are going to take care of you and make you a healthier person. At lowtusa.com, you can get your life back to where you want it to be with Mentality.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals fall yesterday in an absolute pitcher's duel between Miles Mikolas and Paul Skenes. The rookie phenom throws 6 1/3 scoreless with 5 hits and 8 strikeouts. Not to be outdone, though, was Miles Mikolas, who went 7 full innings scoreless, 1 hit allowed. He did walk 1, but he did strike out 6. Cardinals are back in action today with a 6:45 first pitch facing off against the Pirates. It is going to be Bailey Falter, the lefty for the Pirates, on the mound facing off against the Cardinals' Sonny Gray. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American State heating and air conditioning dealer.
8:35 here in St. Louis. Time for the fight with Matt Rocchio. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and Randy has stepped out of the studio. Tim returns for day 2 of the fight. Tim, was it a historic day in your life to beat Randy in the fight yesterday?
Second only to June 12th, 2019.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Wow.
Nicely played.
Do you have children?
I do. I have 3 kids listening at home right now. They're up there as well.
So I was going to say the birth of your kids might be up there, but you know what? Beating Randy in the fight, I get it. So it is, we went Blues Day here on 101 ESPN, and a reminder that next hour we will visit with Brayden Schenn, and he is the captain of the St. Louis Blues currently. Now, let's move to the fight. Question 1, Matthew, what do you got?
Oh, sorry. All right, let's go with this. Ryan O'Reilly led the Blues in playoff scoring in the 2019 playoffs, but not in goals. With 12 goals scored across the playoffs, who was the Blues' leading goal scorer? Was that Jaden?
Wow.
Easy.
Tim, is hockey your favorite topic here? What do you...
That 2019 year was probably some of the best months of my life. What a team to watch.
Yeah, It was fun. All right, happy birthday to friend of the show, St. Louis native Kyle McClellan. McClellan started 17 games in his career, all in the same season, and went on to win 12 games that year. Which year did he pull this off? Was it 2009, 2010, or 2011?
I believe it was 2011 World Series year.
Okay, on to question 3.
With which Canadian team did Carl Gunnarsson play the first half of his career? Was it the Flames, the Senators, or the Maple Leafs?
Maple Leafs.
All right, Tim, on to question 4. Which of the Blues' eventual 2019 playoff opponents ended the January winning streak at 11? Was it the Jets, the Stars, or the Sharks?
I'm going to say the Jets.
All right. Nice work so far. Matthew, go grab Randall.
He's right there.
Okay. Randall, come on in, if you will, and get ready for day 2 against the winner yesterday, and that was Tim.
Tim, hello. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you with us.
Oh, we on for question 1?
I mean, are we ready for question 1, Randy?
Well, let's do it. I'm ready.
Here we go. All right,
Pack a lunch, as they say on the afternoon show.
Okay, we'll do it.
Okay.
Pack a lunch. Okay. We need should we add an a variable of chance into the fight the way they do? Sure. Ryan O'Reilly led the Blues in playoff scoring in the 2019 playoffs, Randy, but not in goals.
Oh, no.
With 12 goals across the playoffs, who was the Blues' leading scorer in that 2019 playoff run?
I think I'm going to go with Jaden Schwartzy, the dozen cousin.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I will. I'll go with that.
Dozen.
All right. Happy birthday to friend of the show, St. Louis native Kyle McClellan. Wish him a happy birthday, Randy.
Happy birthday, Kyle, Hazelwood West grad.
McClellan started 17 games in his career, all in the same season, and went on to win 12 games that year. Which year did he pull this off?
Was it his rookie year? No, I don't think he started. Well, it was either 2011 or 2012. I'll go with 2012. He seemed to be pretty much out of the bullpen in 11. I'll go with 2012.
On to question 3 we go.
Randy, with which Canadian team did Carl Gunnarsson play the first half of his career?
Toronto, eh?
That was quick answer for you.
Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, who'd we trade for Gunner?
I think it might have been just
the big guy, Roman Polak. Don't open that Roman Polak door.
Yeah.
Are you ready for question 4?
I'm ready.
Which of the Blues' eventual 2019 playoff opponents ended the January winning streak at 11?
So it was I think it was Dallas. I think we went down to Dallas and didn't win.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, 11-game winning streak, yeah.
Matthew, please do your thing.
Well, got to wait just a minute here, Danny, because we are going to a tiebreaker as you both rocked 3 correct answers on this fight. So we're going to go to our tiebreaker. Tim, to win this one, you're going to have to get closer to the pin than Randy Carricker on this question. Here's how it's going to go. I'm going to say the question. We're going to give Randy Carricker a moment to write down his guess. After Randy Carricker has written down his guess and shown us his guess, we will then get your answer audibly. Then who's ever closest to the pin is going to be the winner of today's fight. Do you understand those rules, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Randy, do you have paper?
I do.
All right,
Lindenwood paper. I'm not on the screen right now.
You're not on the screen? Oh, I keep forgetting. We have an issue with the microphones where if my microphone is on before yours, your screen then doesn't pop up because for some reason there's no if you just a little inside baseball, there's no presets that specifically selects our 3 microphones.
Okay.
Because usually these 3 aren't ever on. So that was just a little inside baseball there. So now we have Randy up on the screen.
Let me turn my speaker down here.
Nope,
I was trying to watch.
Don't do
there
that.
We go. We're good.
Gosh, bless it.
What were you doing on your phone? What were you trying to watch?
I was on my phone. I was looking up there.
Oh, I thought I heard something bleeding in from your phone.
That was from my computer.
Oh, what were you watching on the computer?
I was trying to watch us.
Yeah, we're watching a lot of me right now.
I was trying to show my Lindenwood paper.
Oh, I got you.
See, the thing is that we
Proud sponsor.
We very rarely have this situation work out. It's Mondays, and it should happen every Monday. I don't know why I should get it fixed. That's my problem.
All right, don't worry about it.
Here we go on the tiebreaker. All right, Randy, you ready?
Ready.
What was Stan Musial's single season What was Stan Musial's single season high for strikeouts? What was Stan Musial's I want to say it the old way. Stan Musial's single season high for strikeouts? The most strikeouts he ever had in one Major League Baseball season. Randy Carricker has given us his guess. All right, Randy Carricker gave us his guess. Tim, what is your guess, sir?
Wow. I'm going to say, let's go 50.
All right. Randy Carricker, Tim's guess was 50. What was your guess, sir?
My guess was 39.
All right, Randy's guess was 39. Tim's guess was 50. This is an absolute, just like screecher. This is so close, and we have a winner in today's fight. Does Tim roll on to a potential Hall of Fame opportunity on Thursday, or does Megamind stop him in his tracks today? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Congratulations, Tim, just by the skin of your teeth. Stan Musial's single high season for strikeouts was 46. You were 4 away. Randy Carricker was 7 away. You just barely beat him, but you beat him. They don't ask how. They ask how. They don't ask how many. They ask. Or they don't ask how. They ask how many. Well, you got enough to win this one, Tim, and you will be going for a Hall of Fame shot tomorrow.
Wow, that's awesome.
Congratulations. Let's go through the questions and the answers. Ryan O'Reilly led the Blues in playoff scoring, but not in goals. That was Jaden Schwartz, who, like Randy said, he got the dozen. Cousin Vladimir Tarasenko finished with 11 throughout the playoffs. Happy birthday to friend of the show and STL native Kyle McClellan. He started 17 games, finishing with 12 wins in the 2011 season. Then they got Edwin Jackson for the second half, who then slotted into that 5th starter role. It was, in fact, the Toronto Maple Leafs that Carl Gunnarsson started the first half of his career and then was traded to the Blues for Roman Polak. And it was, in fact, the Dallas Stars who ended the Blues' 11-game winning streak a little bit into February with a 5-2 victory. Of course, the Blues would then go on to knock them out of the playoffs. Congratulations, Tim. And then 46 again is the single-season high strikeouts.
That's amazing. I can't
Musial.
believe that he struck out that much.
Tony Gwynn, I think, only struck out 3 times in a game one time.
Isn't that crazy?
Unbelievable.
Oh, Stan was, okay, he was 41 years old when he struck out.
He was a little bit older when it happened.
Yeah.
Congratulations for the win, Tim. We will talk to you tomorrow, sir.
Sounds good. See you tomorrow, guys.
Yep, take care. Tim with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, Kyle Gibson, Cardinal right-hander from Big League Impact, joins us here on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you want to take your career to the next level with Lindenwood University Online, now's the time to do it. 100% online programs, personalized learning, expert instructors, and affordable tuition. Learn more at online.lindenwood.edu. It really is an amazing online experience, and it'll help you in your career. So you need to talk to your employer and say, hey, I want to go online and enhance my education at Lindenwood. It really is affordable with industry-relevant programs that are perfect for working adults, and they'll work within your schedule. Plus, they have 35-plus online programs taught by industry experts that are committed to your success. And they're going to work with you to apply credit for prior learning and experience. It's ranked the top online MBA in the state of Missouri by Fortune Education in 2023 and 2024. You can learn more about the online programs at Lindenwood University by going to online.lindenwood.edu. Danny went there. I went there, Lindenwood. You can too. Online.lindenwood.edu. Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker, the opening drive on 101 ESPN, and we've switched up our starting rotation a bit.
Yeah.
Kyle Gibson normally joins us from Big League Impact, but Big League Impact has a great event, Bats and Barrels, coming up on June 30th at Adventure Unknown in Fenton. And Lance Lynn, along with Alec Burleson, are going to be involved with that event, and Lance Lynn joins us now on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Lance, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, fellas. Thanks for having me.
We're excited to have you. Let's start with this because Kyle told us, he said, hey, I'm not much of a bourbon guy. So I asked around and found out that Lance Lynn was. Are you kind of a connoisseur? How much do you know about bourbon?
I don't know if I'm a connoisseur. I enjoyed. I've been able to go on, go to some of the tours on the distilleries over in Kentucky and stuff like that. So I've gotten to know it a little bit, enjoy it a little bit. So I think it's over time and things of that nature. You start trying new things and liking new things. So when this popped up, it worked out well because Kyle is not a drinker at all. So he goes, "Hey, I got an idea for you," and I was like, "We actually." This winter went over and did some tastings and made a barrel for our family in Kentucky. So it kind of worked out where this kind of all fell in place for us.
Hey, Lance, great to hear your voice. Great to have you back in St. Louis. What has this been like being back with the team that originally drafted you?
It's kind of come full circle. So it's been fun, not only for myself, but for my family and everybody, back where it started, the team that gave me an opportunity out of college. You're always very appreciative of those opportunities. I had a lot of great times here early on in my career, and to be able to come back here, now has been a cool moment, not only for myself, my family, and it's been exciting.
Do you like being, and you've always been an old school guy, but do you like being the grizzled veteran?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was kind of being that before I was even the veteran. So it was one of those things where I don't know. It's your whole life. You go play. You play on teams. You do things like that, and things kind of just happen naturally. And for me, I've always been a very emotional player. Whatever sport I'm playing, I want to win, and I don't hide that. And it kind of, rubs off. And as long as you take care of your teammates and you're there for them when they need you, and things like that, it goes a long way.
Hey, are you being nice to the cat this year? Or you taking it easy on Jim Hayes?
Yeah, I'm taking it easy on him. He's really slipped over the years. These guys have let him off way too easy. So I couldn't go too hard early on, or he would cower back and not do much. So I'm kind of easing him back into it here.
I remember a few years ago, you were going to fly me and Jim Hayes down to your original press conference and basically not say anything to the rest of the media. But if we asked questions, you were going to give us the best answers you possibly could. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we always have a good time. Jim's a good sport as always. So, he's spent a lot of years getting heckled, so, he knows how to handle it.
Hey, Lance, as the analytics people were going, and it's not that they haven't stopped going crazy, but you were and have been very outspoken about your disdain for analytics. And by the way, Dan and I are both old school baseball observers too. Has your stance softened? Have you accepted any of the analytics that have been presented to you? Not any, because I know you use the numbers, but has your stance on the overall analytics movement softened?
I think the big thing with analytics is it's there, right? Everybody knows it's there. I think that if you live and die by it, it can get you in trouble. You still have to be able to see the game with your eyes, see the flow of the game, see certain things. Analytics can only take you so far, and you still have to be able to use those things to prepare and get yourself in a spot where you can be successful, but you also still have to have the human nature of going out and playing, having a feel of the game, the flow of it, and certain things, and know what makes you tick personally. And I think a lot of those things still matter, but obviously anything you do in life and sports and all that, you're always trying to get an edge. So analytics can give you an edge if you know how to use them, but you also have to know who you are and what you're capable of. Because if you try to do things that analytics want you to do, sometimes people aren't capable of them. They lose who they are.
How much fun is it from your perspective to watch a game last night? So well pitched with Paul Skenes, and Miles was there step by step with him, but just watching it from the dugout and just seeing how well pitched a ball game can get.
It's fun. Obviously, you're looking at two different types of stuff at that point, and Miles has got every pitch in every quadrant that you need, and Skenes was, he's throwing 100 the whole time and has 4-pitch mix and things like that. So he's not just a young thrower that just outpowering people. He's got the ability to throw the ball on both sides of the plate and mix speeds and do all that stuff too. So I think you're seeing the evolution of, obviously when a guy goes 1-1, he's pretty special in the draft. So you see a guy like that shows you that you can't just throw it as hard as you can and all that. Like, this guy's going to be special because he throws the ball firm, but he also has pitch mix, and he'll be able to move the ball on both sides of the plate, and he has a clue what he's doing, not just heaving it up there as hard as he can.
It is amazing to see how many guys come up from the minor leagues, and it looks to us, Lance, like that's what they're doing, is just trying to heave it as hard as they can.
Yeah, and I think that's the wave of analytics that we're talking about. It's how can I get it to run, ride, sink, cut as fast and as hard as I can with the most spin rate without worrying about where I'm throwing it. A hitter in the big leagues can hit anything you throw, especially if you throw it over the middle. So you got to have the ability to set things up and do things out and keep them off certain things. And he was able to do that last night. It was actually, pretty impressive to watch him use both sides of the plate and multiple different breaking balls in that, changeup. So especially with a guy who throws 100. I think that's the trend is you got to figure out how to use your best stuff, but you also have to figure out how to pitch with it. And he was able to accomplish that over his time in college.
Love talking to a guy like you that is cerebral about the game and been around it a long time. And I'm curious what you think about the rules and the changes, especially how it affects pitchers. And then is there something that maybe you thought about that you change that would be beneficial for the game from the pitching perspective?
For me, ever since you have the pitch clock and the pickoff stuff, pitch clock I enjoy. I think obviously everybody wants the game to move a little bit, have a little bit more of a flow to it. I think the pitch clock has created that and stuff like that. I think the number of pickoffs is a little questionable where you're getting a max out on being able to pick off, but the very few times you see guys pick off more than 2 or 3 times anyways. So, probably unnecessary, but it's getting what they want done. Game's moving. There's more things going on. It's not just stand at first base and hope the guy hits a homer anymore. It's getting back to making guys put the ball in play and making the guys run a little bit, bringing back the glove first players that can hit and run and move the runners and stuff like that. So it's getting all aspects of the game back where they're being used and being seen, and it's showing off some athletic ability of certain guys that can run and catch the ball a little bit too. So all in all, I think the game's trending in the right direction. I think the number one thing is to make sure that the players are on board and know what we're trying to accomplish. And we're trying to accomplish putting a good product on the field and giving the fans something to watch. And, they got tired of seeing guys sit there and swing and miss just trying to hit home runs. So, right now we're in a good spot, and I think we just need to see how it works out.
Lance Lynn with us on 101 ESPN. And I think that you pitchers need a timeout. Maybe not need, but deserve a timeout. I can't believe that he didn't give you guys a timeout during an inning.
Yeah, I think when you look at it now, you're looking at, especially when you have 15 and 18, I think it should just be 18 the whole time through. I mean, that everybody can be able to, have a flow and doing all that. The different times are probably unnecessary. If you have 18 seconds both times, and then, obviously with no one on, you get an inning where no one gets on ever and all that, you probably could use one timeout. It'd be nice to have one timeout per inning where you could step off. And just reset, especially if you're having trouble, getting the right pitch call or something like that. You get guys that, can't get, they'll just throw a pitch because they're running out of time. And I was like, that's what we don't want. We don't want stuff like that to happen just because we're trying to throw pitches so we don't get a ball called. So I think a one step off to make sure everybody's on the same page. And that will also protect the umpires. The guys just throwing a pitch, the catcher doesn't know what's coming. That could get somebody hurt too. So I think that one little break for a starting pitcher, if he needs to step off with no one on, it would be a plus.
I know you take great pride in mentoring young pitchers and young players about how the game is supposed to be played and the respect factor that goes into it for veteran players and for people in general. So who are those guys for you? You've been around now a long time. You've been with different organizations. Who are the guys that kind of took you under their wing and really showed you how it is to be a pro?
Early on, it was Chris Carpenter, Jake Westbrook, Kyle Loesch, Adam Wainwright. Those were my four keepers early on in my career. And I was able to take a little bit from everybody. And that's something that, I kind of pride myself on. You try to, when you're coming up, you're like, hey, they always tell you, hey, you need to look at what this guy does, that guy does, blah, blah, blah. You got to find yourself as a person first and then figure out how to pick each person's brain. Without feeling like you're being told, like they're talking down to you like a big brother or a dad. So those guys were great with me. And then, I went on, got to play with CC in New York, which was great. I got Lackey here when he came over, which was awesome for me too. And, it's over time you start taking a little bit and you start learning as much as you can. And then the funny thing is half the stuff I learned from those guys didn't even work for me, but it's things that I can use to help other people today and guys today that are coming up with certain things. And, you just learn in terminologies, the ways to do things and mindsets that people use and, figure out what works for you. And then you also can figure out how to help your teammates.
Two-parter, Lance. Did you really run steps with Chris Carpenter? And if so, do you look back and wonder, what the hell was I thinking when I ran steps?
Oh, no chance in hell was I running steps with that guy. That guy was a machine. He would go day after, you wouldn't see him for 45 minutes to an hour, and I feel like he'd try to touch every step in the ballpark. He was something special the day after his start for sure.
And coming back to where we started, Bats and Barrels benefiting Big League Impact, and people can go to bigleagueimpact.org. And you're going to be doing this with Alec Burleson. How much fun are you having watching him emerge as a major leaguer?
I'm enjoying it quite a bit, man. He's a good kid, and he wants to play, and he wants to be good, and he's got an idea of what he's doing at the plate, especially for a guy who hasn't had many big league at bats and big league time. He's got a good plan, and it's fun to watch kids like that know what they're trying to accomplish. And then, early on this year, he was barreling balls and couldn't get hits. Now, he's getting hits, and he's in there every day, and he's one of those guys that if you just let him play, he's going to hit. You really can't define why or anything like that. The guy just barrels balls, puts them on play, takes good at bats, and he's got an understanding of what pitchers are trying to do. So it's been fun to watch him get that opportunity this year, for sure.
Hey, Lance, it's great to have you with us. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Thanks for what you do for the community with Big League Impact, and have fun on June 30th at Bats and Barrels.
Yep, everybody come out, have some fun, taste some bourbon. We'll have a good time.
All right, sounds great. And people can get more information by going to bigleagueimpact.org. Sad news from the world of sports this morning. Jerry West, longtime Laker and Laker coach and general manager, has passed away.
What did you think of how he was portrayed in the Lakers show? I can't remember the name of the Lakers show, but it was on HBO. Winning Time. What did you think of that?
I was shocked that he would have been that way because he seemed like such a gentle man.
Yeah.
And then obviously he threatened a lawsuit, and everybody that was around him said, no, he was never that way. He was never a jerk. He was always a very calm, gentle person. So I think he was unfairly portrayed in that fictional series.
Going back to Lance Lynn, I don't think you would have seen him do this as an early player. Like you're supposed to be seen, not heard kind of thing, right? But I think it's great that he's getting involved in the community, and he is, knowing him pretty well, he's one of my all-time favorites to deal with. He was always great as a media guy. I know he is right now, too, and he's a stabilizing force in that rotation. He's going to give you 5 innings. He's going to give you a chance to win these games. He might get blown out here or there if he gives up some home runs, but for the most part, he's exactly what the Cardinals thought he might be.
Coming up, we want your mic drops. It is We Went Blues Day here on 101 ESPN. We've got Stanley Cup Finals Game 7 from 2019 tonight here on the home of the Blues. But we want to know when you thought the Blues could win a Stanley Cup. With your mic drops next on 101 ESPN. You might think anybody can put up a fence, but that is not necessarily the case. There's a reason that my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck have an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. There's a reason that they've been in business for 56 years. There's a reason that everything they do has at least a 5-year labor warranty, and it's because what they do is great. They're going to provide you with a lifetime product when they install a fence for you. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I have a fence that's been up for a long time from Chesterfield Fence and Deck, and it has been and will continue to be a lifetime product, and it's fabulous. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, you can call them at 800-300-4054. Find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com, and they do a fantastic job with fences and decks. But then sunrooms, screen rooms, pergolas. If you want to build a screen room over where your patio is right now, they'll come out, provide you a free, no-obligation project design, and it'll look fantastic. They'll give you some other ideas so that you can have the perfect addition to your home. And if you say you heard about it from Randy, you can get 20% off your next outdoor project that's installed with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Again, chesterfieldfence.com. Call 800-300-4054. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
.908. The text lines are open, either 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO, or the chat room on YouTube, and some good ones there. When did I think the Blues would win the Cup? 7th game, a minute left in the third period with a 3-goal lead. I started thinking we're going to do it. That's from Namel in the Lou. Willie said, I think after we scored first in Game 7 against Boston was when I was like, okay, this thing might actually happen. And if you want to go for that series for me, and by the way, we got blowed out in Game 6, so that was kind of a concern. But then when Petro scores late, when Marchand is making the late change in Game 7, to go 2-0 with less than a minute left in the first period, that was pretty huge too.
What'd you have as your favorite moment?
During the playoff run or the whole season?
Yeah, the playoff run.
Oh, it was Maroon, the double overtime.
Yeah,
goal.
Had to be, right?
Yeah.
That was incredible. 636 says, when they scored the 4th goal in Game 7 against Boston, I finally was relieved that they were going to do this.
And that's the heartbreak that the Blues had given us for more than a half a century. And there was always something, and I was convinced for a long time, there was always something that was going to happen that was going to cause us to not win a cup.
I was pretty convinced with them going back to Boston for Game 7 that they would not win. I was a Blues fan sitting there saying, well, hell of a run, but it just wasn't meant to be. And I was at Game 6. I actually stayed home and traveled the next day of a game, and took my family to Game 6. I had never seen an atmosphere like it. Never seen.
Incredible.
It was. And I mean, TV just didn't do it justice. It was incredible.
More texts on the text line. Game 7 was scheduled for my 25th birthday, so I knew the boys were going to take it to 7 and give me the best birthday present yet.
314, as soon as I saw Benner put on a clinic in the first period, I knew it was ours.
And when Maroon told the Boston bench what he told them, you guys are blanked.
I love it.
Great.
I think it was the goal after Benner stands on his head, and then the Blues are the ones that break through. Like the combination of everything, I'm like, you can't come back from that if you're Boston. You literally had your chance to win the Stanley Cup was peppering a goaltender throughout the entire first period, and you didn't get one through, and the Blues just took a lead going in the second. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, Benner was at his absolute best in the first period against Boston.
Incredible. Yeah, I kind of thought when he did that you'd have a shot. I didn't think, I was, like you said, Randy, as a Blues fan, not to be negative, but I've been through so much with the Blues, I thought, no, man, something's going to happen here in Game 7.
I was also very wary of the Binnington thing because I couldn't get over the fact that his last game before he got called up, in the minors, he had gotten ejected for swiping the back of some guy's legs out from the back of him during an altercation. And I was like, this guy isn't the guy who locks in during a playoff run. This is the guy that cracks and overhead swings his stick after he lets up 3 goals in Game 3. And so I was waiting for that moment, and every single time. And then I think it might have been do I look nervous? And I was like, oh well. All right. Apparently, you can lock in a completely different way than just chopping somebody's legs out, because he locked in a different way and it worked.
Yep, that's today's Rush Hour Reset. Coming up, more on this season. 5 years ago on We Went Blues Day, Blues captain Brayden Schenn joins us next on 101 ESPN. We're efforting the Blues captain, Brayden Schenn, on this We Went Blues Day. Tonight, we're going to air Game 7 of the 2019 Stanley Cup Finals. Blues over the Bruins 4-1. Spoiler alert. But I love hearing it. I never get tired of hearing it, and I always have anticipation when things are happening, as if I've never heard it before.
Yeah, you forget stuff, too.
Yeah.
You know, it conjures up memories of things that you forget. There's certain things like the save early on that I had forgotten. Is such a key moment in the game by Binnington, and just the way that he played. I think he gets overlooked a little bit, maybe, just how great he was. He was unbelievable in that game. He was unbelievable in that game, and he made a save early on that kind of set the tone. And just reliving that, hearing it, it brings back a lot of great memories, no doubt.
And by the way, Binner will join BK and Ferrario later today here on 101 ESPN. The other part of that game is how, like Schenn scored, it was the veterans that carried the day. In the first period, it's O'Reilly from Bo and Petro. It's Petro from Jaden Schwartz at 1952. To me, that was a real backbreaker for the Bruins. And then Schenn from Tarasenko and Schwartz for the third goal, and then Sanford from Perron and O'Reilly. Your best players were your best players that night in Game 7, which is absolutely what you needed to have happen.
So Brayden Schenn is listening. Call on in. Call on in. Mm-hmm. We want to hear from you. But tell Brayden Schenn from the 314, I bring greetings from his cousin up in Dawson, Yukon, Canada, and it's still one of the great moments that we have in your life that he won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, and
pretty cool.
One of the things, when you're a veteran player like that, and we were talking earlier about how many players, when we were talking to Carl Gunnarsson, about how many guys last for a long time but never get a chance to win. I wonder at some point, is it kind of a relief that you win the cup rather than the joy? And I know it was joyful for them, but you get to 8, 9, 10 years in your career, it probably becomes a relief.
I would think so, especially when you're an upper echelon player and it's that one thing on the resume that you need. I mean, you play 10 years in the league. I don't care what sport you're playing. That's a remarkable career. Remarkable.
Dan, remember the national narrative when the Blues played San Jose in the conference finals was, Joe Thornton needs to get his Stanley Cup.
That's right.
Right? And everybody that was doing TV, Joe Thornton needs to get his. Well, no, there were Brayden Schenn needed to get his Stanley Cup. Alex Petrangelo needed, Jay Bouwmeester. Those guys needed to get Stanley Cups too. And I think so. It's the guy that's been around the longest without having won that gets the love. But looking back now, aren't you exceptionally happy for Jay Bouwmeester?
Yes.
A great guy, a great leader, a really, really good player, first pick in the draft, or first or second pick in the draft. But then you look at what happened the next year, and thank goodness that he had the opportunity to win the Stanley Cup.
Absolutely. I look at it as it pertains to today, Connor McDavid. Mm-hmm. He needs that on his resume. I think you go back to when Colorado won the Cup and they pulled the trigger to go get Raymond Bourque. You know,
right?
You get Ray Bourque the Cup. I mean, that's about as good as it gets, and that's the final exclamation point in his career, which was an incredible career with Boston all those years. But then to go to Colorado, finally win the Cup, raising the Cup. That when I think of guys that win the Cup and they raise it for the first time, he's the one that comes to mind for me more. Hawley is there. Mm-hmm. When he won it in Dallas, but then Ray Bourque, that one for him, the exclamation point in winning it was another one that comes to mind.
And one of the local ones that I thought was cool was Chris Thorburn, because he was beloved in the organization, even though he'd only been here for a year. But he was a guy that made an impact on that organization and in that dressing room. And I loved it when the Blues, and I didn't know that it was happening, that after the C's and the A's, he was the next guy to get the cup and skate it around.
Did you get near the cup?
Oh, yeah.
Were you able to touch the cup?
I kissed it beforehand, and people in St. Louis would have hated me forever if the Blues would not have won the cup. But yeah, I've got a picture of myself kissing the cup.
Do you? Yeah. I've got one when they brought it to the booth.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you're giving it a big hug and a kiss.
Yeah.
The cup made its way around everywhere. I think the other one that I think about is Bobby Plager. With everything that he had been through with this organization, the various roles that he obviously played for the team, had been close as a player, too, with those teams in the late 60s. But yeah, Bobby Plager raising the cup was pretty cool.
And our buddy Jeremy Rutherford, by the way, speaking of 5 years removed from the Blues Stanley Cup Championship, JR has a trivia piece up at The Athletic, and all you need to do is go to The Athletic and check it out. But he wanted us to mention that he's got Stanley Cup trivia posted at The Athletic. So thank you to JR for reporting that, and I'll go try some. I'll see if I can do some Stanley Cup trivia.
It says 314-RK, your tattoo should have been you kissing the cup.
Oh, no, you don't get a tattoo of yourself on your body.
Okay. All right. I think there's
been worse
tattoos.
Fair. There's been a lot worse tattoos than that. That wouldn't have been that bad. I think it would have been kind of fun.
Yeah. No. Oh, there. I just put myself up on the YouTube.
Oh, nice.
There it is. No, that one is fine. And my tattoo is because I wanted, kind of like the Cardinals with their City Connects, I wanted to get an arch in there. So I've got an arch. So I wanted to have it be a little St. Louis thing, too.
Did you have superstitions throughout this?
Oh, big time. So for the first day of the playoffs against Winnipeg, I had ordered, I don't know why, but I saw like on Facebook there were St. Louis Blues shoes. I got them the first day of the playoffs.
Blues shoes.
Yeah, so I still have them. So I wore them every day, every game day. Every road game, I got a cookie cake from Schnucks, gained a few pounds during the course of that Stanley Cup run. During game number 7, when O'Reilly scored, I was sitting on a chase in my living room in a particular way, and I didn't move. My leg was asleep when the game ended because I would not move once O'Reilly scored. I had to stay in that same position.
618 says, Randy's got too much street cred to get a tattoo of himself. He's a real OG.
Fair. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're a real OG, dog.
Yeah. There were a lot of superstitions during the course of that Stanley Cup run. Did you have any?
I didn't. I just wanted to watch the games. We were doing baseball at the time, and as long as I had a TV next to me or I could watch on my phone, I was happy with that. I was enthralled with it. I think the other thing that I think about is Layla. That was cool. Seeing her raise the cup, that was pretty awesome. There's just so many storylines. Gloria obviously comes every time that comes on the radio. I turn it up, makes me think of that. So there's a lot that comes to mind.
It was great. We've got a lot coming your way as Petro will join us later on in the day. He'll be with the Fast Lane guys. And right now we go to the celebrity line, and Brayden Schenn, the Blues captain, joins us on We Win Blues Day. Schenner, good morning. Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing very well, and boy, in some ways it seems like it's been an eternity, but in some ways it feels like it was 2 days ago that you guys won the Stanley Cup, but I'll bet you can see it in your mind's eye right now.
Yeah, I think you look back, and those are the best days of hockey I've ever had, and hopefully get to experience again that one day. And talking to other guys around the league that you're training and skating and doing everything else with right now, it's just the jealousy factor sets in when you're watching these guys on TV kind of going through what they're going through, and you wish you could be one of them, and just because you know the feeling. And no, it's obviously super special to be a part of that team.
Brayden, you'd played a lot of years. You were still very young, still are very young, but you'd played a lot of years. What was your reaction? Pure joy? Was there any relief at finally winning a cup for you?
Obviously you get I don't know if relief's the right word, but I think in the moment you're just so excited you wouldn't really know what to do. And then when the first time you get to lift the Stanley Cup, I can't even talk about it right now. It brings chills to you, right? It's just it's what everyone works for. That's what everyone trains for and plays for, is to win the Stanley Cup and be a part of a championship team. And whether you're watching the NHL right now or the NBA or guys win the trophy in golf or whatever it may be, Masters, majors, stuff like that. That's what everyone plays for ultimately, right? So, obviously relief's one thing, but I think more so just the excitement to share it with the teammates and family and friends that, help you get to where you are, at that time.
When did you realize that as a team, and you were a leader on that team, that, we're better than this and we can make a run? Was there a time that you felt on the ice or in a game that you felt, in the schedule, hey, we're good enough to make this run?
I really think, I don't know the exact date, but kind of when we played in Florida there on a back-to-back, we beat Tampa in overtime. We beat the Panthers, and then we kind of went on, I don't know if it was like a 12-game run there. I can't remember exact numbers, but right around that time, it felt like we weren't going to get beat, and guys were joking around at the time. I remember Tyler Bozak saying it. He's like, he was joking. He's like, we may never lose again. And up until not up until that point, but just kind of throughout from that time on to the rest of the season, we just knew we could beat everyone, and then playoffs, anything can happen. If you look back on the playoffs, it's anything could happen. That Winnipeg series, you got some breaks, and then the Dallas series with J-Bo saving it on Jamie Benn, and like I said, you need breaks and bounces and luck throughout your way, but we definitely have a strong team from top to bottom to do it.
Hey, Brayden, I want to have your reaction to a couple of people's in the organization's favorite things. Number one, the flight home from Boston. What's your strongest memory of the flight home?
I even remember just the flight home would be it was unbelievable. Just with the the Stanley Cup on there, and everyone coming to the back of the plane or middle part of the plane and drinking out of it, and it was just a full on party on there. And then getting off that plane, we had fans and people outside the gates of the airport there cheering us on. I remember Skenes walking off the plane, with the cup, with I think the belt on, and that's a guy that put in a lot of hard miles into that city and in the organization. So he rightfully so deserved to come off and show the city of St. Louis the trophy. And I heard just so many things too, with like the bus ride, guys chanting on the bus and drinking out of the cup, and then there's so many parts of the celebration that you really loved.
And then, obviously, the parade was one of the more epic sports parades ever. What's your strongest memory of that day?
Mine is you didn't know what to expect. We actually said we were going to take it easy the night before, which we didn't. Think that was one of our nights where we went the hardest. So you woke up maybe a little hungover, and then I just remember turning the corner down Market, and first, there was people on the side of the road you weren't exactly sure, and then you turn the corner right there, and you're just you couldn't believe it. And I think that the coolest part about the parade, where I thought was awesome, was we didn't stand there and wave and drink beers in our truck, or I had a fire truck that day just because my dad was, but we got out and we embraced the city and the fans and ran around and drank beers with them, and I remember pretty much running the whole time, and obviously a couple beers will help you do that, but the parade was, I think, my favorite time of the whole celebration.
How was your celebration with the cup when you get that day? Tell us, pull the curtain back a little bit, and what that day was like for you and your family.
Yeah, so I got it in Saskatoon. I think it came from J-Bo in Edmonton the day before, so it shows up pretty much right on time at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. Just kind of had breakfast with it, pictures, that type of thing. Just kind of, having the Stanley Cup sitting there is pretty cool. And then one of the guys, the keepers of the cup, he had a photo album of every guy he's ever done for his Cup Day. So I had the pleasure of kind of going through his photo book of every guy, and you name the names in there. It was pretty crazy, and he had some cool stories and stuff like that. And then I took it off to the local minor hockey rink where I kind of grew up playing, and spent many hours there, and family and friends came over, took some pictures, and then I did the hospital and Children's Hospital and for bringing it around there. And then my dad was a firefighter, retired now, and brought it to the fire hall from the firemen and family and friends, and then some more pictures, and then kind of had a party from 5 till midnight exactly when they take it away from you, and I think it was off the Schwartz and Bozak the next day. So it was unbelievable. Just the party was I think the coolest thing about it is people have been to weddings and whatever else, but not many people get a chance to go to a Stanley Cup party, and people partied hard, and were excited for me, and I was obviously thrilled to share with the people that helped me get to where I was winning the Stanley Cup.
Well deserved, and you, as you said, jealousy at this time for the other teams kind of sets in for everybody except for Florida and Edmonton right now. You're working right now. You're with the finals still going on. You're working out, getting ready for the next season.
Oh yeah, that's the league's changed even since I've been around it. I think most guys, obviously missing the playoffs isn't fun, but you kind of take your time off there and you get right back into it kind of towards the, mid-May, end of May there, mid-May for me. And then I think a lot of guys now, start slowly skating in June and in July and August they ramp up, and it's a full-time job, and we definitely love it. So I'm out here in Kelowna, British Columbia. My brother's out here, and there's a bunch of guys. Joel Edmondson's out here too, and skate train with him, and still enjoy it and love training and love skating and try and find ways to get better.
Awesome. We're looking forward to having you back in town. Enjoy We Went Blues Day, and thanks for your time, Brayden. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care. That's Blues Captain Brayden Schenn on 101 ESPN. Coming up, by the way, Patrick Maroon is going to join the balloon party at 10:05. Binner on BK and Ferrario, and then both Alex Petrangelo and Colton Parayko will be on the fast lane. Michelle Smallmon joins us next year on 101 ESPN. It's so great to have the MLS here in St. Louis, and it's great to have so much involvement. For example, St. Louis, you can get your exclusive City SC debit card from Together Credit Union. Together Credit Union is the only place to find this official fan debit card, and it comes with special amazing perks like a free lifetime My City Plus membership. You also get in-stadium discounts on food, beverages, and merchandise for City SC, and most exciting, an easy entry into the game. Express entry into City SC matches if you have the City SC debit card from Together Credit Union. And as a special bonus, Together Credit Union will also send you a commemorative print of City Park Stadium, the home of St. Louis City SC. They're available while supplies last. How do you get the card? Pretty easy. All you need to do is open any personal checking account online at togethercu.org or stop by any Together Credit Union branch. There are 14 of them in the St. Louis metro area, and choose the St. Louis City SC debit card at account opening. There's no cost for the City SC debit card, so don't wait. Sign up today and show your pride for St. Louis City SC. Membership eligibility required, federally insured by NCUA.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals fall yesterday to rookie phenom Paul Skenes and some late runs from the Pirates. Paul Skenes goes 6 1/3 scoreless with 5 hits and 8 strikeouts. Miles Mikolas puts together a gem of a game, 7 innings pitched, also scoreless there, but unfortunately the Cardinals late runs from the Pirates means the difference. Nolan Gorman with a meaningless home run in the bottom of the 9th. Cardinals will look for a win today, 6:45. First pitch, it'll be Bailey Falter, the lefty, facing off against Sonny Gray for the Cardinals. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Glory, Gloria, Gloria, Gloria. I think I got your number, Gloria.
Those were the days. Those were the days. Danny Mac, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN. And I traversed those Stanley Cup playoffs that year with Michelle Smallmon, who is now the co-host of Unsportsmanlike here on 101 ESPN, mornings from 5 to 7. And then you can hear her all the time throughout the course of the show on Sirius XM Radio. Michelle, it's always great to hear your voice. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning, guys. I have to be honest, I'm a little tired this morning, and it's not because I woke up at my usual 4 a.m. It's because I had to defend Cardinals fans from an army of people coming at me all day about the applause for Paul Skenes last night.
So there are people actually in our industry and I guess I shouldn't be surprised by the East Coast, that they just don't like class.
Absolutely. I had Evan Cohen, my co-host, coming at me. Chris Canty, my co-host, coming at me. Christopher Magdog Russo came in the studio to give me a hard time and say that this was bad form by Cardinals fans. It's been quite the day, guys, but they just don't get it. They don't get Cardinals fans. They don't get the way that we appreciate baseball, not just the guys who are wearing our laundry. So that's fine. I'm happy to carry the torch for St. Louis in that regard.
Appreciate it. And by the way, that's the biggest difference between St. Louis and most other cities, is most other cities literally do root for the laundry, and we like our guys. Kurt Warner comes into a game when he comes back as a member of the Arizona Cardinals, standing ovation. David Freese, standing ovation. Anybody comes back and they get a standing ovation. We like our guys, and we like our future guys, and Paul Skenes is one of them.
You think he's a future Cardinal? I love where your head's at, Randy.
Thank you. Yeah, we got to work it. As fans, we got to work it. Now we got to try to sell him on the free zoo.
The free zoo. Well, I think that we should lean into what today was 5 years ago and tell him that he'll come to a championship city. You know, that might have happened for the Blues, but certainly that's the reason why people want to come play for the Cardinals as well.
Okay, when did you think, Michelle, that the Blues could win a Stanley Cup?
1 second before it actually happened.
So
even going back to Game 7, I was at the watch party at Enterprise Center. Even when the Blues took command of that game, it still didn't really settle in my head that it was actually going to happen, because we were Blues fans. We were so conditioned to having our heart be broken that until that final horn actually sounded and I looked around at all of the Blues fans celebrating with me, it didn't really settle in that it could happen and that it finally did happen.
So, Michelle, you're sitting next to Randy during some of these games at home. How is he behaving?
Well, we were behaving the best we could, Dan, because for a lot of this, we were in the press box. And as you know, you can't cheer in the press box. You can't be emotive. You certainly can't let people know that you're hoping that the team wins. So Randy and I had our little pregame rituals. I would eat certain candies, and we would do that. But as the game would go on, we would punch each other in the leg underneath the desk when something good would happen, because we couldn't really show how excited we were that the Blues were doing well.
We almost had a rumble, Dan, with some Boston media.
Is that right?
Oh.
What happened?
I forgot about that.
Are you serious?
Game 3?
Yeah. Go ahead, Michelle.
So yeah, that was the game I think that Jordan Binnington, it was his outlier game when he what was it, 5 goals that he allowed I can't exactly remember, but the Blues got worked in that game, Game 3 at home. And we went to what was, I think, an auxiliary press area, and we were in essentially a suite, and we were in the back of the suite, and in front of us were 2 rows of Boston media guys, and they were just going in, talking trash about the Blues, talking trash about St. Louis, and they didn't realize who we were behind them. And Dan, you've seen Randy rage blackout before. He's the nicest man on earth, but once he crosses that threshold, it's hard to reel him back. And we were teetering on the rage blackout line there for a while as these guys were trashing St. Louis and the Blues.
Well, I would think that your leg took a beating too. You probably got bruised with Randy losing his, cool and being excited about the team. So I'd imagine when he's hitting you under the table, I mean, you're probably bruised after some of these games.
Absolutely, but just like the Blues that year, I played hurt. I was fine. Lower body injury. We move on.
Absolutely. I want to go back to your co-host just for a moment. I mean, do you get a word in otherwise when you are trying to defend what the B-Fibs are doing here in St. Louis?
I did. Thankfully, they gave me the runway that I needed today to really be able to explain ourselves. Not that it should need explaining. The fact that I even had to explain why this is not only acceptable, but something that should be the norm was crazy to me, guys. I just think that we are in such a volatile place as a society and as sports fans that there's no room for class or elegance anymore. There's no gray area where you can say, yes, we want the Cardinals to win. Yes, we support our guys, but we can also recognize a great outing and support the opposition as well. And it's not like Cardinals went over the top and cheering. They stood up. They politely acknowledged him like, hey, kid, we see you. Great outing. You were brilliant tonight. We just made it a little moment and the game on. Also, it was a game in June, and it was scoreless at the. I personally did not take it as that big of an issue, but yeah, the guys gave me the runway I needed to defend St. Louis today because they certainly took umbrage with it.
Well, that sort of activity is why Tony Gwynn always called St. Louis the best baseball town in America, because he got cheered. And knowledgeable fans, and that's a key. Knowledgeable fans know what they're watching, and they know that they're seeing something special, and they show their appreciation for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't either, but we are in the minority here. St. Louis is in the minority here, let me tell you.
So, hey, Michelle, I want you to tell one more story because it's one of my favorite Stanley Cup stories, and so many people have so many great ones. But here we are, Father's Day week. I want you to tell everybody that's listening the story about what you recorded as the seconds ticked down in Game 7.
So I grew up, obviously, a sports fan, but my gateway to sports was my connection with my dad. And my dad is as true blue of a St. Louis sports fan as you will ever meet. And one of my earliest memories was my dad taking me to Blues hockey games in the old barn, dressing me up in a jersey. There was actually a time when I got to go out on the ice and shoot the puck and win a bike. Some of my fondest childhood memories were me watching Blues hockey with my dad. But just like any person in St. Louis who's been a Blues hockey fan for a long time, my dad never thought that he was going to get the opportunity to actually see the Blues win a cup. Remember, Randy, at this time, we still thought we were cursed. We still thought we were going to have to go on the dark web and get some black magic working. So as the season... Well, first and foremost, I had just come back from Connecticut really at that time. So the fact that I was even able to be home and be experiencing that season with my dad after living away was remarkable enough. But as we went through the playoffs and it looked like, wow, they really have a chance to win this thing, I thought there's no way that I'm not going to watch this moment with my dad. But I actually got the opportunity to go to Game 7 in Boston, and I turned it down because I wanted, win or lose, to experience that with my dad. So we ended up, by sheer luck, getting into Enterprise Center to go to the watch party, and someone behind me actually was able to record the moment where that final horn sounded and the Blues finally won the cup. And just seeing the emotion from my dad, I could cry talking about it right now because it wasn't just my dad. Of course, I feel more profoundly about watching my dad finally getting that moment. After all, you know, the emotional, financial, all these ways that we pour into our teams. After watching him do that his entire life and getting the payoff finally, that was special. But it wasn't just my dad that got that. Being able to look around and just see that pure joy and relief from everybody was so special. But it's the video or photo that I cherished the most, that in that moment I was able to be there with my dad and celebrate with him as the Blues won the Stanley Cup.
It's an awesome story. And oh, by the way, we can also tell people now, you and I were walking together. We spent the parade day together. And you know, Michelle, after that day, I literally had no choice but to get the tattoo, too. There was no way I was going to be able to get out of it after we walked through the parade.
Dan, Randy is like the mayor in so many ways. Everybody knows and loves Randy Carricker, so you really can't go out with Randy without people wanting to stop and chat him up anyway. I'm not kidding you when I tell you we could not get 3 steps in any direction without somebody being like, Randy, when are you going to get the tat? Are we going to see it live on TV? What's the update with the tat? How big is it going to be? Everybody knew that Randy had to pay off this bet, and I think being in that moment and seeing people face to face saying, hey, we're waiting, buddy. When are you? Hey, buddy, we're here. Where's the tat? You had no choice, Randy. You had to pay it off. But I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think you regret it, right?
I don't regret it at all. We have a Stanley Cup
There you
championship.
go.
Joan
Absolutely.
loves it. Joan must love that tat.
Oh, yeah, it's beloved, no doubt. Yeah. Hey, Michelle, love listening to you every morning. Miss you here and seeing your face every morning, but I make it a point to have you on TV every morning, so we get to watch you and Evan and Canty, and the work you're doing is absolutely fabulous, and keep it up.
Well, thank you guys so much. It's great to chat with you. I miss you guys, too. And as always, thanks for all the support. It means the world to me.
You got it. We'll see you later. And tell your dad Happy Father's Day, okay?
I will. And happy Father's Day to you guys, too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you later. That's Michelle Smallmon here with us in the opening drive. Coming up next, we've got Rocc and Roll. And I think we're going to give away some tickets here on the opening drive. Hey, did you know that there's very little opportunity for youths with disabilities in our region to play baseball and other sports because of a lack of adaptive facilities? That's changing now because the Gateway Region YMCA has partnered with Cardinals Care and the Boniface Foundation, and they have built a state-of-the-art adaptive sports complex in South County. It includes a Miracle League baseball field, an inclusive playground, and multipurpose field so kids and adults with disabilities can play sports. And working with the Cardinals, the Y is thrilled to partner with Paul Goldschmidt and name the new field Paul Goldschmidt Field. As part of its work as a nonprofit, the Y provides comprehensive adaptive support services to more than 1,000 individuals annually. And this new facility is a game changer. It enables the Y to expand programming specifically for sports for individuals with disabilities. Consider making sports available for all so that children with disabilities can play ball and make a contribution. Experience the joys of being on a team. Visit gwrymca.org. That's Gateway Region, gwrymca.org.
Today's a perfect day to get some daily fantasy going with our friends at Underdog Fantasy and their newest Pick'em product right now active in Missouri. That's right, a Pick'em game right now active in Missouri with our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Pick 2 to 5 players from at least 2 different teams. Select higher or lower on the player stat projections. You pick your entry fee, and then if you hit your entries, you're walking away with your winnings. We didn't do so great yesterday, so let's try to build a winning Cardinals entry today. Sonny Gray hasn't been going very long in his last few starts. Will today be the change? I don't think so. We're going to go lower than 17.5 pitching outs for Sonny Gray. On the other half, I always like it when the Cardinals go up against no-name lefties. So Bailey Falter, we're going to go higher than 3.5 strikeouts for him. And then Nolan Gorman, he's been hitting crazy throughout the month of May. Can he continue throughout June? Higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. That's our scorcher. It's going to take our odds up to about 7x. So Sonny Gray, lower than 17.5 pitching outs. Bailey Falter, higher than 3.5 strikeouts. And Nolan Gorman, higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Like I said, you're getting 6x, almost 7x on your entry fee there, and you can go to Underdog Fantasy. It's super easy to play and even easier to get started. You just go to the EasyU mobile app or to UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up with the promo code ROCC, and Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick of entry and a deposit offer. You take that mystery special pick, you add it to this entry, you're going to be looking at about 10x your original entry. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code ROCC to claim your new customer special of a mystery player pick and that deposit offer. Must be 18 plus and present to stay where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
We do have Rocc and Roll. We've got tickets to give away for Journey and Def Leppard as well. A pair of tickets on the line to see Def Leppard and Journey with Cheap Trick on July 6th at Busch Stadium. All the ticket details and a bonus chance to register to win free tickets are available at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. But right now, if you want to win a pair, all you need to do is text in 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. And if you answer this question correctly and are the number of texter that we're looking for, you win. Matthew, what question does the winner have to answer today?
Well, earlier today we found out that Stan Musial's career high in strikeouts for a single season was 46. And Randy pointed out that there's an odd part about that stat, which is the age of Stan Musial when he set that career record. How old was Stan Musial when he set his career high in single season strikeouts?
Good one. I like that. What you want to take texter number 50?
Take text number 50.
Okay, we'll do that.
Because he didn't play till 50, but
we did not.
It was a little bit later on. It was a little bit later on in the career.
All right, you've got some action for us. You got some St. Louis, some New York on St. Louis crime going
Michelle Smallmon mentioned it in our interview with her just a few minutes ago, and here is the Mad Dog Chris Russo coming after St. Louis fans for cheering Paul Skenes' outing last night.
I do have an issue, and I know that St. Louis is an easy place to play, but the trouble is nobody outside of Arenado, nobody wants to go live in St. Louis. So as a result, from a free agent standpoint, is not necessarily they want to live on the coasts. Yeah. They don't want to live in St. Louis, so it's not an attractive location. But here's the bottom line. The St. Louis sports fan is way too obedient. Come on. I mean, you can't give the guy... I understand he's first young pitcher, and he did a great job, and he's going to be really good. I get that. The game is no score in the top of the 7th inning, and you give him a standing ovation. How about a polite applause? I mean, can we go there instead of standing... He's not Bob Gibson, for crying out loud.
For crying out loud.
I love them. I do. I get a kick out of them. I just think this is a different marketplace than
we're nice.
The East Coast. It's just different. I love Mad Dog, though. He cracks me up. I go back to Griffey's 500th. I mean, place went nuts for a standing ovation for that. Place would have went nuts if Tony Gwynn would have gotten his 3,000th hit here in St. Louis. It was the same night that McGuire got home run number 500. You could add a historic night of baseball there. I just think fans applaud good baseball. That's just the way we do it here in St. Louis.
And that's the intelligence and the education of the St. Louis sports fan, not just a baseball fan, but the St. Louis sports fan in general. And I get it. Some media don't do a good job of helping the fans understand. And our job is as a conduit to help people because I'm a fan with access. That's the way I look at it, so I can get information and hopefully pass it along. And I think that we have a tradition here that is born of people like Harry Carey and Jack Buck and Dan Kelly and Bill Wilkerson that causes us to be a friendlier group. Like when McGuire got thrown out of the game in '98, and Jack at his ceremony to unveil his statue, he asked the fans to give the umpire a standing ovation when he came out the next night. What happened? The umpire got a standing ovation. Yep. And I think it's, I wouldn't say it's obedient. I think it's just nice.
Travel west of the Appalachians in something other than a plane one time, Mad Dog. We'll show you how nice we are.
Yeah, right. You got that right.
Get out of here.
Don't you guys enjoy listening to him?
Right, but it's funny.
Oh, yeah, I know. He's hilarious. I love it.
He's fun. Yeah. He's a fun guy.
Yeah. Have you met him?
I've never met Mad Dog.
He's an interesting character. He's fun.
Clearly. Great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Danny, you were awesome today.
You too, sir.
Let's see if we can get a Cardinal victory tonight. Oh, we shouldn't be rooting for the Cardinals. Let's root for the Yankees instead because we're in St. Louis. Too obedient. Too obedient. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a happy hump day, St. Louis.
We went Blues!